30% since 2022. Religion app downloads surging nearly 80%. And Christian music Spotify streams up 50%.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to American Orthodoxy. I'm your host, as always, Benjamin Michael. Today we have our normal Thursday stream, which is going to be my reaction to a debate. And today we got a very special debate that's coming up because it's the person I'm going to be debating here in just a couple weeks at the end of June over on God Logic's channel. And we're looking at June 30th right now. That is tentative on whether or not Muslims belong in America. You can go check out the stream I just did with Fearless Truth over on Saturday. That's doing well over on the algorithm because we cooked some Muslims over there and we cooked one Zionist as well. My viewership over on YouTube has been completely nuked. Like I said, ever since I posted my video talking about the white race. So it's okay. We're going to be consistent. We're going to push through it. And I'm working on getting clippers so that we could drive traffic over here. So I'm white-pilled on that because I've got my other platforms that are going to be able to help me to do that, and they're doing well. So once we get clippers going, we're gonna be increasing our viewership, as well as when I start doing debates on these bigger channels, because I got two massive debates coming up on top of my debate with Junior on God Logic channel. I'm also likely debating Harry Sisson on immigration, and that's going to be later in the year. I'm really going to be starting to ramp up debates. I want to debate a guy named Nick Matau, I think is how you say his name. He's like the top Zionist guy. So I'm planning on debating him. Yeah, and if anyone's willing to just make clipper channels, I would appreciate it. I can kind of help you by sending you, particular clips that I know did well over on like Instagram and things of that nature. So if you're interested in being a clipper, you can DM me about that. I want to cover, before I dive in the debate here, so this stream is hopefully not going to last too long, probably right around the 2-hour mark as normal, because I got my priest coming over for dinner tonight, which I'm very excited about. My wife and I are hosting my priest, so I'm very ecstatic about that, because we just moved to a new area, and so we're still getting to know him. He's my spiritual father, and he's awesome. On that note, there is somebody who watches my show that took it upon themselves to email some priests because they heard that I was going to be working with them, and emailed these priests lying about me and what my views are. So first I want to let that person know, because they're probably watching, that is slander, first of all. And so you're definitely going to want to bring that up in confession next time you're getting absolution. Secondly, I don't know how dumb you think I am, but I have relationships with these priests. Many of these priests, I speak to either them or their family members or their team members just about every day, and they know my views. Some of them watch my show, like my spiritual father, for example. At times will watch my show as well, and is very aware of what I'm doing and my position. And so that you taking it upon yourself, right, to try to tattle on me and lie about me, right? You're actually damaging your own soul. And you're not the first person to do this. Other people have tried to do this. People have tried to reach out to organizations that I work with, and those organizations that again I have a great relationship with knew exactly what they were getting into when they started working with me. And they told these people to pound sand. There was somebody who made an entire email account called Concerned Orthodox Christian, and tried to email my old priest, who hasn't been my priest for over a year, tried to email my organization that I'm part of, tried to email the organization I'm the board chair of. And obviously, all three of those entities told them to pound sand, because everybody knows, dude. Like, I don't know what you guys think. If you guys just thought I just randomly created this YouTube channel and just started firing off this content, like, dude, people know I've been posting similar content on Twitter for years. People know my position on things, okay? People that I'm well connected with in the church that are also well connected, okay? So, it's fine if you want to try to do this. I'm just going to save you some time. It's not going to work, Okay, I'm just saving you guys some time. All right, it's not going to work. You're watching my show, you're trying to find like a gotcha clip or something to try to send, to some priests that work with me. Not going to work. Not going to work. These priests know me. They know my position. They know what I believe. They know that at any point, I'm open to any criticism that they may have. I've multiple priests. I have reached out and said this very explicitly. Hey, Father, I want you to know I trust you, and if I ever say something out of line, please let me know. So that's the situation with my show and my position. And so this little leftist trying to cancel me thing, it's not going to work, buddy. To the guy who's watching, I know you're watching. I know you're watching. I know you're watching. So, anyways, 95% of the feedback has been positive, which is glory to God for that. I've had I get DMs every day of people thanking me for finally somebody in the Orthodox sphere is talking about this stuff, right? And so everybody's in the comments talking about mods. I already have a couple mods, but if you're interested in being a mod, you can reach out to me and I'll take a look at whether or not I trust you to make you a mod. All right, now I have 2 white pills and 1 black pill before we dive into the actual debate. So the first white pill is right here. So just today, this got reported, and I sent this over to the UOJ guys, so we'll see if they get an article up as well. I'll probably share that if they do. So President Trump gives icon to Russian Orthodox monastery. So it had to do, it looks like, based on how this is being reported, I was deeply moved by President Putin's visit to Alaska. He presented an icon of St. Herman to the Orthodox Church in Alaska. President Trump suggested to me that I return that gesture here. So this was a representative of the president. So obviously, say what we want about President Trump. He's pretty much cooked on everything that is not domestic. However, this was a little tiny sliver of white pill, So glory to God for that. Another little white pill. So today, I have a friend who's over in Serbia so I guess the belt of the Holy Theotokos is actually right now in St. Sava, the St. Sava Cathedral. And so my friend is there waiting in line and said it was like a 10-hour line yesterday. And then today the line is even longer. So the people of Serbia are lining up in literal droves to see this icon, to see the belt of the Holy Theotokos. So glory to God for that. So that's a couple white pills. And I already gave you guys the slight black pill about these little tattletales who like to lie about me and are endangering their soul by slandering me. But thankfully, it is to no avail. All right. Well, that being said, we are going to dive into the main event here because, like I said, I am on a bit of a time crunch today. However, I have a real treat for my members only stream today. So those of you who want to stick around, I got some Roman Catholic. I got some content regarding Roman Catholic sympathies to the Jews. So you guys can stick around for that at the end for my members only stream. If you're interested in being a member, you can sign up. I'm about at like 50 members now, so I do a members only stream at the end of all my streams, and I always give you guys exclusive content. So if you're interested in supporting me monthly, you can sign up for memberships. And then as always, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate the support right now. Like basically all of my support over here has been from no help from the YouTube algorithm. It's all literally my followers from other platforms. None of it is organic to YouTube because YouTube is trying to nuke me. But it doesn't matter. We're going to push through it because I know that I can rely on you guys, so I'm not black-pilled about it. I am not worried about it. So thank you for all your support. Please like and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, please like to try to push it out to the algorithm and share this with people that you know would be interested. And with that being said, let's dive into the debate. I did take a little bit of your guys' feedback which was that I should do these on like 1.25 speed. So that's what I'm going to do this time, especially for the opening statements. We're going to do 1.25 speed. And like I said, this is the same guy that I'm going to be debating here in just a couple weeks over on God Logic's channel, this gentleman on the right. So I'm pretty excited about that, and we'll see how good of a debate performer he is. I've noticed he likes to lie about what the Muslims believe. He likes to say that they don't really hold to hadith. He's going to get cooked on that if he tries to run that argument in my debate with him. So, with that being said, let us dive in. I feel like I'm forgetting something big. But hey, it's okay. You know what? Here's something big that I forgot to mention. Shout out to Rachel Wilson, because Rachel Wilson got me on to the Tim Pool show. And so I'm going to be going on Timcast here on June 12th. So that's going to be exciting. I got a conference this weekend with my boy Fearless Truth, Nick, that you guys know and love. And after that conference, right after it, Tim Pool is flying me out to West Virginia, and I'm going to be going on his show on June 12th. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but I'm pretty excited about that. All right, without further ado, let's dive into this debate.
I want to start out by noting this is not merely a philosophical or religious debate, but a sociological one. We could all just talk about why each of us think our respective religions is better, but that would get us nowhere. We need to use real-world data as a tiebreaker. When we look at the peer-reviewed studies, the data strongly favors Christianity over Islam. This really isn't a topic that even should be up for debate, because when we run the numbers,
Just a heads up, so before we dive into this, real quick, with IP, I love IP. He does a lot of really good work, but he obviously he's a little bit more sympathetic to like how, he's not like pro-LGBT or anything like that, but he is a little bit more sympathetic to like treating them with like equality, and things of that nature. A little bit more Protestant, his approach on that. But he still does a lot of really good work, and he's a good guy.
Research has already demonstrated that Christianity is far better, and I will press him on this point throughout the debate. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying everything about Islam is bad. What I am saying, though, is that Christianity creates more optimal societies with better results. And although there are some good results associated with Islam, it produces less optimal societies and results in harmful outcomes and practices. This will be clear as I go through the data. Let's start with war and violence. Davis Brown has spent several years studying this. He conducted one of many studies on the influence of religion in interstate armed conflict, and his model has robustness checks. In terms of government religious preference, he found that Buddhism was non-significant. Christianity was strongly negatively associated with war and conflict, but Islam was positively associated with it. To quote, a state with a non-zero median Christian GRP is 60% less likely to initiate a fatal armed conflict than a state with no Christian GRP. A state with a maximum Christian GRP is 73% less likely. Whereas empirical results suggest that states with Christian GRPs are less likely to use force, they also suggest that states with Muslim GRPs are moderately more likely. At the lowest threshold of using force, a state with the median non-zero Muslim GRP is 84% more likely to resort to force than a state with no Muslim GRP. He strengthened his results in a book he published in 2019. So when a society is Muslims, we see that conflict increases. And when a society adopts Christianity, this contributes to conflicts decreasing. Joshua Wright, in his work.
And one of the things that I've been really studying lately is like the first couple hundred years of these two religions. So like this is something that I'm probably, I don't want to give Junior, if Junior watches these streams, I don't want to give him all the answers to what I'm going to be going over. But like one of the things I have been studying is the early centuries of Christianity compared to the early centuries of Islam. And you guys, like anyone who knows anything about this, like obviously the first couple centuries of Islam were just straight up military conquest, right? Whereas the first couple centuries of Christianity were what? Well, they were evangelism via martyrdom, right? Getting persecuted by emperors like Diocletian, for example, who tried to destroy like the majority of Christian material, which is, by the way, why there's so many question marks about the ante-Nicene era, which is why heretics always camp there, right? But yeah, I mean, just one, like, just kind of laying the fabric for what the point he just made, right, is like, look, you can just look at the first couple centuries of Christianity compared to the first couple centuries of Islam, right?
Has found that Muslims score higher in religious fundamentalism. But fundamentalism leads to racial prejudice, hostility towards value-violating outgroups, and support for violence against outgroups. He says the evidence that Muslims tend to have more fundamental beliefs than other religious groups suggests that Muslims may be more susceptible to what Pechin Slade term the terrorist meme, an ideal expressing selective interpretations of the Quran that is spread throughout the Islamic world. In this way, fundamentalist beliefs may act as a facilitator for religious terrorism. Similarly describes how the jihadi message successfully motivates Muslims because it is a natural extension of the dominant narrative in the Islamic world and is minimally counterintuitive for most Muslims. Higher levels of fundamentalism may enhance the acceptance of the jihadi message. So Christianity results in less harmful outcomes due to less fundamentalism than what Islam fosters. M. Stephen Fish found that there's more political violence in Muslim countries. In fact, it is more than double what is found in Christian ones. Now, he says the Muslim effect is small, but still has to conclude all we can say with certainty is that Islamists do bear some responsibility for major episodes of political violence in the post-war world. He also notes Islam is associated with higher rates of terrorism. He says self-proclaimed Islamists have been responsible for over 3/5 of all incidents and nearly 7/10 of all deaths.
One of the things that IP does really well is he's very well read on like modern scholarship. One of the things though that I like to do when I debate Muslims is like really go to the source material and really use their own material against them. Not saying that IP doesn't do that, but that's just more like how I tend to debate against
Terrorism
Muslims.
is not a uniquely Muslim disease, but its perpetrators in recent times are disproportionately Islamists. Muslims may be prone to tolerate terrorism in the name of their religion, which in turn points our attention to explanations for Islamist terrorism that have a religious dimension. To list a couple more, Monica Duffy Toff has found in her model that Islam leads to religious civil wars among Arab Muslims, but it's lacking among Arab Christians. Choi and Brown found in their model that Salafism is associated with more suicide attacks. To quote, we reason that high levels of suicide attacks in Hanafi and Shafi countries are related to the subversive aspects of the Salafi movement. In one study, Jonathan Fox found that Islamic civilization is the most prone to conflict. And in a more important study, he said, Islamic majority groups engage in more than double the average level of religious discrimination as non-Islamic groups and nearly 5 times the average level of Christian majority groups. Religious legitimacy is about 50% more important for conflicts involving Islamic majorities than for conflicts involving non-Islamic majorities, including those involving Christian majorities. Islamic conflicts score about twice as high on both the composite religion variable and on relevance of religion variable as non-Islamic groups, and about 2.5 times as high as Christian majorities. Thus, there is clear evidence that religion is considerably more important to conflicts involving Islamic majorities and less important conflicts involving Christian majorities. Speaking of discrimination, another study found religious discrimination is much higher in Muslim-majority countries than in Christian-majority ones. Christianity was also positively associated in the study with economic strength and democracy. Another study found that in Muslim countries, apostates and people of the book experience about 4 times the rate of discrimination than Muslim minority groups do. So Christians and Jews are not being treated as equals in Muslim countries.
And by the way, so people are talking about Vlad. You guys know how much I love Vlad. In the comments there, people are talking about Vlad, but a lot of people don't know. I mean, obviously, Romanians know about Saint Stephen the Great. By the way, there's like different spellings of his names. This is how Codreanu, at least in the translation, spells it in For My Legionaries. So that's how I spelled it in this post. Some people were making fun of me for that, but I'm just, hey, look, take it up with a translator of For My Legionaries, bro. It's not my fault. But Saint Stephen the Great, right? He actually fought alongside Vlad the Impaler, and then at one point fought against Vlad the Impaler. But yeah, over 40 battles against the Ottomans that he won. And then I believe he would plant a church for every. He would build a church for every battle he won. And then yeah, so for defended his homeland for 47 years, and approximately 250,000 Muslims met their end. Ottomans met their end as a result of Saint Stephen the Great. So he is obviously a hero of the faith, and he's highly revered in Romania. Thank you guys for the super chats. Of course, we'll always go over those at the end. So yeah, those of you who are unfamiliar with Saint Stephen, you can look into him. He would fast after every battle. He would actually fast because he didn't want to fall into prelist and pride. So pretty cool saint there, Saint Stephen the Great, that you can look into.
The data could not be more clear. Islam leads to more conflict, violence, and discrimination. Now, I expect that my opponent will respond to this by blaming it on other factors. But the research I cited factors in things like the effects of colonialism, wealth, influence from the West, and poverty. they still found that Islam is a variable among many others that leads to more conflict and violence. Removing Islam and replacing it with Christianity means we will get less violence, not a total absence, because of other factors like poverty and other things that lead to violence. But the data is pretty clear. The world would not get better if we increased Islam's influence. It would result in more conflicts and violence. Next, we can look at political issues. Islam suffers from serious problems that Christianity reduces. Roland to Salem, you need to move up to slide 19, you're a little behind, just so you know. So Roland to Salem looked at Protestantism, Catholicism, and Islam. He found that nations with higher Protestantism have more voice and accountability in government, citizen empowerment, political stability, NGO membership, and have the ability to create political transformation. Catholicism is positively associated with citizen empowerment, higher levels of NGO membership, and political transformation. Islam wasn't positively associated with any of these benefits. Additionally, Midlarsky found that Islam is linked to autocracy.
So my wife is cooking short rib tonight for our priest that's coming over, and she needs me to open a bottle of wine for it. So I'll be right back. But
in two of the three of his measures. And M. Stephen Fish also found that Islam is associated with more authoritarianism. He even says, we controlled for major structural factors that might create a spurious correlation between Islam and authoritarianism. And while several of these factors may explain part of the correlation, they do not account for all of it. My opponent has publicly said on X that Americans would be better if we lived under Sharia law. But the peer-reviewed data shows the opposite. We would see an increase in conflict and violence, less political stability, more authoritarianism, less citizen empowerment, and less democracy and more discrimination. Maybe he'll try to argue that democracy and too much freedom is not actually good for humanity, but research has found the opposite. Democracy and religious freedom is associated with a host of positive benefits. If he tries to dispute this, I'll rebut it with data. Let's move on to women in Islam. Abdullah al-Andalusi once said, I think if you truly want to judge a society and how it regards human life, then you should see how it treats the source of human life, women. And then you'll see whether a society truly dignifies human life or not. Well, given that Islam is positively associated with violence, it should come as no surprise that we see an increase in wife beating in Muslim families, or as it's called in the literature, intimate partner violence, or IPV for short. This paper reviewed several studies and found, in general, these studies found high prevalent levels of IPV among Muslims living in the US and globally. Consistent with IPV research in general, verbal and psychological abuse was found most prevalent, followed by physical, sexual, and fatal. Individual, family, and interlocking societal problems, traditional beliefs, spirituality, and immigration-related stressors were associated with IPV as identified by several studies. Studies on beliefs about IPV found that there tended to be higher leniency in justification of abuse in Muslim cultures than is the Western norm. Muslim men across the board tended to justify abuse more than Muslim women, except when the wife had an affair. A meta-ethnography looked at multiple studies as well and found that Muslim women reported experiencing a range of forms of domestic violence and abuse, encompassing physical, psychological, emotional, economic, social, and sexual abuse. In terms of physical violence, women encountered various forms such as beating, slaps, kicks, and hits from their partners and from members of the family-in-law. These religious values and beliefs were subject to the interpretation and guidance of religious leaders. Sharia law plays a role in shaping the behavior of many individuals within the community. Sharia law dictated that women must be obedient to their husbands, and men felt empowered to punish their wives if they perceived them as disobedient. And they also say it is evident that religious beliefs were a strong influence on women's acceptance of domestic violence and abuse, and reluctant to leave and seek help. So not only does Islam make Muslims more violent, this violence is often taken out on women. Because of this, it should become as no surprise that M. Stephen Fish found that in Muslim countries, women have lower life expectancies and lower levels of literacy. Not only are women abused more in Islam, they even have shorter lives and less education. It is clear Muslim women do not have the same respect and equality that they get in Christian societies. What's interesting is this study looked at the effects of when Christians moved into India. Christian missionaries began a massive education campaign, and the results speak for themselves. This study found that Muslims had on average 15 literate girls per 1,000, Hindus had on average 21 literate girls, and then Christians dwarfed these numbers by having on average 203 literate girls per 1,000. Similar results were found in Africa. Education tended to decrease in historic Islamic regions, whereas in places like...
One of the things you guys may notice about these debates is like both sides tend to like info blast, and I really try not to do that in my debates because it's really hard for the audience to follow. So like, it's just a lot of data to process, you know what I mean? And so it's obviously like, you know, tremendous job on as far as like, you know, his study on this topic. To me, I don't know what you guys think. You guys let me know if you kind of feel the same way about like the info blasting.
Gold Coast, due to Christian missionary influence, education increased. Back in India, another study found similar results with education, but also health outcomes. They say Muslim women are comparably less literate, marry at a younger age, and are less likely to work. Christian women have the highest literacy rates in our sample, marry at older ages, and work at rates higher than those of upper caste Hindu and Muslim women. They also found with the addition of controls for possible endogeneity in the location of missions, infant Christian girls in the full sample are 3.702 standard deviations taller, and Muslim infant girls are 2.1 standard deviations taller than lower caste Hindu girls. So not only are girls better respected in Christianity, they're more educated and healthy at birth. We know Islam allows polygamy.
It's good that he's criticizing Hinduism, which is, I mean, a lot of people kind of miss. Like, I actually want to spend some time studying, like, especially the caste system, because I obviously also believe, you know, when I say that Islam is incompatible with Christianity, like, I believe the same thing about Judaism and Hinduism, obviously, right?
But polygamy is associated with a wide range of poor health outcomes, as two meta-analyses found. Women in polygamous marriages suffer from somatization, obsessive-compulsive disorder, interpersonal sensitivity, depression, anxiety, hostility, phobia, paranoia, and psychoticism. It also found children in polygamous marriages who have lower academic achievement. So because Islam allows polygamy, it allows for more harm done to women and children. Christianity outlawed polygamy early on, and thank God we did. Now, my opponent may try to bring up people in the Bible who practice polygamy or Christian authors who allowed for it, but that won't work because in Christianity, we have moral progress. God tolerated polygamy in the past, but it was only temporary until a more perfect covenant could be established. And in the New Testament, we see the only types of marriages that are allowed are monogamous ones, citing what was established in Genesis 2. Christianity also has a concept called the two books, the book of Scripture and the book of nature. We're allowed to use what we find in nature to better help us understand Scripture. Edward Grant notes that this attitude towards science and the natural world comes out of Christianity's concept of the separation of church and state, which Islam lacks. Since we now know that polygamy is very harmful, then it becomes sinful for Christians to engage in this practice. Islam lacks these kinds of principles and is too restrictive, which prevents it from experiencing similar moral progress. Child marriage also results from Islam, specifically from the fact the Quran pretends Muhammad is an excellent moral example, but Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated the marriage when she was 9.
This is a point I make all the time with Muslims, like when I'm debating them, is like, look, like a simple question is, could you emulate the life of Muhammad while living in the West? Could you be a literal warlord, right, who marries a 6-year-old and then consummates at age 9? Could you do that in the West? Is that compatible with anything that the West stands for? The obvious answer is no, right? And what's really interesting, so a lot of you guys may not know this, but as far as like basic background with like Muhammad, right? So there's the Quran is kind of broken up into two particular categories. You have what's called the Meccan verses and then the Medina verses, right? And basically there was the verses that were revealed, right? And you know that he would preach while in Mecca when he was sort of a minority, right? He was sort of ostracized by Mecca, in fact, which is why he ends up immigrating to Medina, which is where there was 3 major like Jewish sects that were there. And it was in the Jewish sects that he was able to rise in the political ranks and eventually become a military leader. And then he ends up destroying all 3 of the Jewish sects because they actually self-destruct because, you know, they start helping the Muslims to actually wipe each other out, and then all 3 of them get wiped out. But it's just kind of funny, right? That the play, there's a lot to unpack here with as far as like the Jewish role in the rise of Islam. But like the most obvious one is that literally like Muhammad would have been completely cooked. He was totally ostracized. And then as soon as he goes to literally live with a bunch of Jews, then he becomes a political and military leader. So just saying, kind of curious. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Meaning he was a non-exclusive pedophile. Muslims around the world use this practice, and as the study shows, to justify child marriage in large numbers. There is no doubt among researchers that child marriage is one of the most harmful practices that young girls have to.
Yeah, and this is the key point here with this. When we bring up Aisha's marriage, right? They like to say, oh well, she, there's anomalies where a 9-year-old can be fully developed, right? And it's like, okay, even if we were to grant that, which is obviously ridiculous, even if we were to grant that, like the point is that people like they look at Muhammad as like someone whose life they can emulate. That's the whole haram halal like categories, right? It's that which the prophet approved of is halal, and then that which the prophet forbid was haram, right? And so that's like the whole thing, right? So if marrying a 9-year-old, consummating marriage with a 9-year-old is something that the prophet permitted, right? Well, everybody's going to look at that and they're going to be like, oh, so child marriage is okay. So even if you were to grant their entire nonsensical, premise that she was like fully developed at 9, which is obviously insane, even if you granted that, it doesn't matter, because the point is it produces, right? It produces societies where child marriage is openly practiced.
Sure. And I covered this more extensively in my debate with Daniel Akikachu, police be upon him. But there are numerous problems, including high risk of physical damage, emotional and mental damage, physical abuse, and even fatality from childbirth. Again, there is far less child marriage in Christian societies for obvious reasons. We're allowed to reason from the damage such practice causes that it is sinful and should be rejected. There's so much more data to cover, but I'm running out of time. But given what I covered here, it should be clear that Christianity gives us far better results than what Islam does. If you want better societies with less violence and conflict, more political stability, less authoritarianism, less discrimination, especially of us Christians and Jews, better treatment of women, less child marriage, and many other factors,
IP.
You should prefer a Christian
See,
society.
this is the problem with these. This is the problem, guys. Like with these people that are clearly like, this is the Protestantism that sort of like slips in, right? And it's the lumping Christians and Jews in the same category. Okay, listen, Jews, Hindus, and Muslims, and pagans, and atheists, for that, they're all in the same category. Okay, and then Christianity is its own category. Okay, it's not Christianity and Jews. No, just Christianity, just Christian. There's no Judeo-Christian values, none of that nonsense, right? And I got something for y'all, so stick around for the members-only live stream today, because I got something for y'all to go over for as far as the Roman Catholic view of Jews, because they have strayed vastly from where the traditional understanding of Judaism and its role in Christianity.
Now, my opponent needs to account for this data tonight. As I said, this is a sociological debate, okay? If he ignores this data, he will be conceding the debate, because real-world data shows Islam causes all sorts of problems. You just can't sit there and do armchair science. You actually need to go through the data, present your own data to show that Islam creates better societies. If he doesn't do that, I don't really care about how he interprets the Quran or the Bible. That's his interpretation. That's not how it manifests in reality. So what I expect is...
That's a key point that he just made right there. It's not about and this is what I tell. There's these guys that like to debate Islam, right? And they're like, oh, well, Islam is actually a religion of peace. And, there's all these religions that say, there is no coercion in religion. And those are all the verses. Those are the Meccan verses. Remember, I was just talking about this, how the two categories of verses in the Quran, right? Those are the verses from Mecca, right? Where he was the minority and he was nice to everybody, right? But then later on in the Quran, that's when you start to get these verses that are promoting jihad, and, coercion and, apostasy laws and things of that nature. Right. And so, regardless, these peaceful, modernist Muslims it doesn't matter what they believe, because the point is that the societies they produce, right? The societies they produce are basically, the same. They are akin to the ones that Muhammad himself produced, right, in the early centuries of Islam, which is waging war on people, right? It's apostasy laws, it's child marriage, right? These are the societies that Islam produces. And a point that Andrew Wilson made that is so crucial, and I've emphasized this multiple times, is the Middle East and North Africa were world powers under Christianity. And as soon as Islam took over, now they're shitholes. So they went from world powers to shitholes, and the only difference was Islam. So
what happened is we'll get a bunch of Bible verses out of context and just some interpretations of the Quran, but that won't be enough to deal with my data. But let's see what he has. I look forward to hearing what he has to say.
Thank you very much for that opening, Mike. We will kick it over to Junior for his 15-minute opening as well. Thanks for being with us, Junior. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, James. Just making sure my mic is working. You guys can hear me fine? Perfect. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Michael, you made the whole audience fall asleep in the last 15 minutes. What's going on?
All hail to Allah. Allahu snack bar.
Like, I thought this was an opening statement. You presented a lot of data, and I took notes in my Quran. I'm not sure if you guys are allowed to do that in your Bible, if you can take notes or not, but I took a lot of notes and made sure to not write the words that you said about the Prophet. We'll get to that later, though. I'm a Muslim Palestinian. I believe Jesus Christ is the Messiah. This is my opening statement. A very powerful one. Where from Palestine, you say? Some may call it Israel today, but...
Yeah, except their Quran, literally. They like to do this little thing where they're like, we love Jesus in Islam. The Jews think that he's burning in excrement, but we love Jesus, man. He's like a prophet, and he was sinless, and he's the Messiah. But what they don't tell you is that in the Quran, it says if you believe that Jesus is Allah, that you're going to burn in hell. And then in their hadith, it says that even if you are a mass murderer, Christians are going to atone for your sins in hell. That's what the hadith says. So whenever they try to do this little kumbaya of like, guys, it's just us. It's the Christians and Muslims against the Jews, man. That's what Jvnior likes to try to do. The hadith literally states that we're going to burn in hell to atone for the sins of mass murderers who are Muslim. So there's no kumbaya here, all right? We don't want peace with Muslims. We don't want that, okay? We want you out of our countries, okay? We don't like you, and we don't like the Jews either. We don't like either of you, all right? It's not us against them. It's not.
I'm from Nazareth, the literal birthplace of Jesus. My grandma got kicked out from Nazareth in 1948. Why? Because she was Muslim. Muslims have been oppressed in the Middle East ever since Israel has been established as a state. What does Christianity and Judaism say? Jews are the chosen people, and Israel is the holy land that belongs to Jews. Unfortunately, if I was to bring Bible verses to try and disprove that today, I wouldn't be able to convince you guys because America tells you to support Israel. But the reason I'm here today is to show you that Islam is actually...
Yeah, which is obviously a new development, which we're figuring it out now, dude. Like, we're figuring it out. So this is like, he's going to try to do this same nonsense in my debate with him. He's going to try to make this about Israel when I hate Israel and I think Israel's a terrorist state, dude. So, and I acknowledge that there is infiltration in the United States. So it's just going to be, if he tries to do that, it's going to be totally
better for humanity and not a threat to humanity. We didn't come to destroy America. We didn't come to make you hate Israel. Even though Israel is committing a genocide against our country. For 700 days, my family starved.
Which you guys did to the Christians in the first place, right? So like the whole reason why it's Muslim is because y'all basically force converted or unalived all of the Christians that were living there. So that's why it's not majority Christian anymore.
They couldn't even buy flour because the money I sent them wasn't enough. For 700 days, my family would call me every night telling me, I don't think I'm going to talk to you tomorrow because
like this
maybe
debate isn't even about Israel.
Notice
this debate is which is better for society, Christianity or Islam? And he's talking about Israel, bro. What the hell does Israel have to do with this topic?
It's going to drop on my house and I'm not going to be able to talk to you. For 700 days, I cried and prayed for Jesus to return on this earth. How many Christians do you know that do that? I'm a Muslim.
Bro. There's no way. There just can't be. There's no way. Has bro ever heard of Thy Kingdom Come? Has he ever heard of that line? You know, the one that every Christian prays every time we say the Our Father, which is every day, multiple times a day for traditional Christians. There's no way, bro. There's just no way.
With a Palestinian identity, with the same birthplace as Jesus. I wasn't born in Nazareth. My grandma was born in Nazareth. But I feel such a deep tie to that location and that place for one reason only. We suffered death for the last 700 years, for the last 700 days. We suffered oppression for the last 75 years, and I'm still standing in front of you today with a smile on my face. I'm still standing today praying for the return of Jesus.
He's not even smiling.
And I'm still trying to make humanity better.
What is he talking about?
So despite being one of the most oppressed individuals in the world,
I'm standing here today with a smile on my face. Like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, what are we talking about?
A Muslim is standing here in front of you telling you, I want to make the world a better place. So let's begin. How can Islam make the world a better place? How can Islam improve humanity? Doesn't Christianity already do that? Well, when you bring Islam into the equation, Islam simply brings more clarity. It brings more completion. It brings more simplicity.
It brings more child marriages. It brings more cousin effing. Like,
You
what
brought
are
up
we
a lot
doing
of
here,
points
bro?
about polygamy in the opening statement,
Yeah,
which
here
you
we
didn't
go.
say
We're gonna defend
anything of your
polygamy.
opinion. You just read research, which is kind of disappointing because I was hoping to hear some of your opinions about Islam.
He just
The
read
only one that-
research, guys. He didn't make any points about polygamy. He just read research from scholars.
That you sort of yelled out was
This dude is
a
insane.
slur against our prophet. That's usual. We're used to that. Islam's clarity is very, very prominent in our book. The book says, I'm just going to open a random page on the book and I'm going to read, all right?
Oh, Lord have
And I'm going to
mercy.
show you how precise this book is.
Lord have so
You saw
much
me flip the
mercy.
page. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. Indeed, we have created man, and we know whatever thoughts his inner self develops, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. This chapter, chapter 50, and the verse that I just read is verse 15. Verse 15, chapter 50 in the Quran, randomly pulled up, just told you that God is the creator of man, and God is closer to man than his jugular vein.
When you have a presentation at school and you didn't study or prepare for it at all,
I don't see Jesus
that's
sitting right next
basically what we got going on here.
I don't see Jesus anywhere in this room. So either the Quran is false or something is missing. I literally just opened this verse randomly to show you that Islam is very clear. You will never open the Quran and read a verse and be in confusion. This is a myth. Anybody who says, open up the Quran, you're going to see evil, they don't open up the Quran themselves. If I was to ask Michael here, what are the 6 pillars of faith in Islam? He wouldn't even know. You probably study that because it's a very popular question.
It doesn't matter if he knows or if he doesn't know. He does know, first of all, but that's irrelevant to what type of societies Islam produces. Nobody's mass migrating to Somalia, dude. Nobody is mass migrating to Afghanistan. They're mass migrating to Christian nations. That's the point.
Apologetics right now. That's good. I didn't ask you the question, though. This is my opening statement, so please let me finish.
He makes a claim. He says he doesn't even know what it is. He starts telling him what it is. No, this is my opening statement.
In Christianity, there are a lot of great stuff. A lot of
there's
amazing
no way.
stuff. Because the God of the Bible is the God of the Quran. So when you say that
The God of the
Christianity
Bible
so
is the God of Quran. That's why he's called Father. That's why the God of the Bible is called Father throughout the entire scriptures. It's the same God, guys. Just trust. Even though the Arabic equivalent of Yahweh is not even a thing in Islam, right? Is literally the name of God in the Old Testament, not even a thing. Not even a thing in Islam. But it's the
amazing
same
for
God,
humanity,
guys. Trust.
I actually agree
Trust.
with you. I live in a Christian country. I became educated enough to be able to stand on a stage, sit down on a stage, and talk to you guys.
Speak our language, use our technology just to shit on our society.
Guys about the return of
Exactly.
Jesus. Talk to you guys about the oppression that is happening in the world that is hiding behind Christianity and Judaism. Christianity right now is at a very critical point.
Yeah, we already covered the people try to lump Judaism in with the Christian founding of America. I refuted this. The one of the most authoritative commentaries on the amendments explicitly says the First Amendment isn't for Jews or Muslims or secularists. It's for different types of Christians. It specifically names Jews. It says it's not for Jews.
You guys are the world's largest religion, the biggest group of Jesus followers. Muslims.
This line of argumentation is so funny to me. Because it's like, guys, why would you trust the New Testament when there was like decades that went by without them writing down what Jesus did and said? Instead, you should trust this other book that is 600 years later. So instead of trusting, the people who knew Jesus and wrote things down a couple decades after, no, you should trust the one that came 600 years later. That one. That one is more trustworthy. That's how ridiculous this argument is.
Are right behind you. People like Michael Jones have a hard time believing that Muslims follow Jesus. Muslims believe in the virgin birth of Jesus. Muslims believe that there is only one son of Virgin Mary, and his name is Jesus of Nazareth. Muslims believe that Jesus only spoke the truth. Muslims believe that the Bible was the word of God and was revealed by Allah to humanity, just as the Torah, the Zabur, and what came before it. There was even a group of monotheists that lived in ancient Mesopotamia that are mentioned in the Quran called Sabians. Now, if I was to call them Muslims, someone like Michael would lose his absolute mind. He would say, how are they Muslim? How are these ancient people that predate Islam?
He's about to make a Muslim is just someone who submits to God, bro. It's just someone who submits to God. Okay, so if I literally just like build a statue that's monotheistic and I submit to it, I'm a Muslim. That's the point he's about to make. Because they were strict Unitarian monotheists, they were therefore Muslim. That's the point he's about to make.
Why are they considered Muslim? Well, because there's a central key foundation in the doctrine of Islam, which is submission to God. And that
I've never seen this debate before.
God,
I've never seen this debate before. I just know that that's what these people like to argue, bro. That's what they always say.
Jesus taught us how to submit to God. In Matthew, it says he fell on his face and prayed.
Yeah, he fell on his face to pray, which is how Christians prayed. That's how we pray. We prostrate, right? Orthodox Christians. That's how first millennium Christians prayed. But guess what? Jesus also looks up to heaven when he prays at times, which is forbidden by their hadith. So, and this is something that God Logic has done a really good job of exposing, is this whole notion that Jesus was a Muslim. He just absolutely buries them on that.
On his face and prayed to submit to God. He gave his free will to his Father and never did anything out of his own will. He never taught his own words. I would call Jesus a Muslim. Every time I post on X, Jesus is a Muslim prophet, it gets 200 likes and 3,000 replies. Why? Why is it such a bad
Because you're
statement?
reliant on our sources, which you reject, dude. The whole point is that you have to go to our sources, right? Which, by the way, the Quran also claims that Jesus' disciples were Muslim. It doesn't just say that Jesus was a Muslim. It says his disciples were Muslim, which means we should be able to go to the writings of his disciples and they show that he was a Muslim. That's what we should be able to see. But no, instead, we see Christ claiming divinity. We see him looking up to heaven when he prays. We see him calling God Father, right? We see him calling himself, saying, you should honor the Son in the exact same way you honor the Father. These are shirk. This is shirk. This is shirk in Islam. So the reason why we make fun of you when you say that Jesus was a Muslim is because the only way you can justify it is by throwing out all of the material, all of the first century documents, the fragments and the manuscripts that came later from copies across the entire world, 3 different districts, right? You have to throw all of that away for instead something that came 600 years later from a random dude who married a 6-year-old. That's why we're making fun of you, dude, because it's that ridiculous.
To say that Jesus was a Muslim prophet. Hopefully in this debate, I can clear up the misconceptions that Christian apologists always trip on when it comes to explaining why Islam is better for humanity. Michael Jones brought up some very good points, and I agree with him. Islamic community needs more education. We need more freedom from the West. We need the bombs to stop dropping on our heads.
Freedom from the West. Okay, come on, bro. You're living in the West. We need freedom from the West, which is why I'm living in the West, and I'm speaking Western language, and I'm wearing Western clothes, and I'm using Western technology. Bro, like,
sleep.
The memes write themselves. Okay, the memes write themselves.
Islam will never be able to better humanity as long as Islam is in war. Right now, people like Michael Jones are declaring war on Islam. They say, oh, Islam is good. You know, not everything about Islam is bad. But then they go and say,
just about everything about Islam is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm agreeing that just about everything in Islam is bad.
So,
because even the things they get right, like marriage, they get it right in the wrong way. So it's like
there's a bit of hypocrisy here. I didn't come to you with data in my opening statement. I came to you with a real story, real pain, and I'm not even making it about myself. All I'm trying to remind you is that Jesus...
I came with you a real story of my life about people I know who experienced Israeli persecution. Bro, is this not a debate about Israel? His whole opening statement was basically, guys, Israel is super mean and Muslims are actually like super peaceful and we love Jesus, guys. And Jesus was a Muslim. That's basically his entire opening statement.
This is returning. Jesus is coming back in this lifetime. I've had dreams where I met Jesus. I'm still a Muslim. Do you know what that means? That means there's something in Islam that you all need to understand.
Bro.
Something that I'm going to try and bring out of my heart today. So maybe it can reach any open heart in the audience today or anyone watching that genuinely thinks that Muslims are not bad people.
Bro.
I'm going to put your heart of comfort. I'm going to put these accusations to rest. I told Michael, don't insult our prophet. Don't go there because you're going to change the whole debate. And he's already done that. So the direction
he insulted the prophet.
How?
He insulted him. How did he insult the prophet? By saying that he married a 6-year-old? That's true. That's in your hadith. It's like 25 times in your hadith, bro.
Back and forth. It's rather going to be who can win over the audience. Michael's not telling you Jesus is coming back. A Muslim is sitting on stage telling you Jesus is coming back. Go back to your church. He must be
a prophet, guys. He knows when Jesus is coming back. So he must be a prophet. We got Prophet Junior up in here,
churches. Go back and read the Bible. Read what it says about Jesus. So when he comes back, you know who he is. We pray for Jesus to come back because we literally cannot leave our country.
Yo,
Palestine is literally enclosed in an open air prison. Nobody's allowed to leave unless they pay a $10,000 ransom fee. To who? We all know who. We all know who. The governments, the people who claim to be Christians, Muslims, Jews, but they're not telling you Jesus is coming back. Michael Jones is not telling you Jesus is coming back. The people in Palestine are telling you Jesus is coming back. The people who watch every single church get destroyed. The church of St. Polyphorus in Gaza has been destroyed. I hope I can get a statement from Michael
dude.
That says I condemn the genocide in Gaza. You claim to be a defender of
I can't wait to debate this guy.
You claim to love children. You know what I've been doing for the last 700 days? I haven't been attacking Christianity. As a Muslim, I've been posting videos of our dead children. And what happens on the platforms that I post them on? I get shadow banned. I get called a liar. I get attacked. Muslims face so much persecution today.
You guys want to know what's funny about this, by the way, in hindsight, is so a lot of you guys may have seen this on Twitter. He got demonetized on Twitter and he just totally crashed out. And he started like DMing like the higher ups in Twitter, like, guys, I don't actually hate Israel. Like, I actually love Jews a lot. And his DMs kept getting leaked by the higher ups in Twitter, and they like leaked it and showed like this dude is a total phony, he's a total grifter, literally out here like abandoning everything he stands for just to get his monetization back, like begging. He was in their DMs begging to get his monetization back, bro. Like, he was getting dragged on Twitter like less than a month ago for this.
Say that Islam is not better for humanity is just unfair. When Islam gets out of this age of war and enters a golden age of knowledge and education, you will see the beauty in the Muslim people. Did you see the viral TikTok video of the woman who called 20 Christian churches? I don't know if they were Protestant or Catholic. I'm not going to go there. But I think this should wake up every single Christian in America. When you have a single mother, I don't care if she was a scammer. I don't care if it was a social experiment. I don't care if it was just a TikTok video. A woman calls 20 churches, and all of them refuse to give her baby formula. She calls an Islamic church, well, at least that's what she called it, a mosque, told her when and where. Where are you?
Appeal to TikTok fallacy, bro. We got Junior out here inventing new fallacies. He just appealed to a TikTok video, bro. Appeal to TikTok fallacy. We need to get that one in the books.
And when do you need it? And he asked her one more question. What kind of baby formula do you need? The mosques are equipped to handle such tragedies in society. They're equipped to handle such demands from single mothers, whereas the churches are not. So it's quite ironic to me that Michael, sat down last night, last minute, pulling up all this data about women being oppressed, When in fact, you know what? Women are not oppressed. I'm literally going to call my wife right now, and I'm going to show you a real-time example of a good Muslim husband.
There's no way.
Hi, baby. How are you?
Just dealing with a teething toddler.
There's no way, bro.
I'm sorry. Is she crying? Baby, I have one question just real quick because the audience is listening. Have I ever put my hands on you?
Oh, no.
Have I ever beat you?
No.
Okay, I love you so much. Let me finish this debate and I'll call you back. So right there, you can't make this up. I've never put my hands on my wife.
You're right, bro. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to debate this guy, bro. I can't wait to debate this dude.
I'm in the process of memorizing it. I'm in the process of memorizing hundreds and hundreds of hadiths. And not a single one has told me to put my hands on my wife. And if it did, I definitely would have.
Oh, boy.
Because
yeah,
I follow
We're going to let IP correct him on that one.
Islam. And I do everything Islam tells me. The reason I'm sitting here taking scrutiny today, being attacked, whatever he says to me, I'm going to accept it. You know why? Because none of this matters. What matters is the return of Jesus Christ. Jesus will return. I swear to God, if I speak lies, may God strike me down. May God kill me. We are facing a genocide in Palestine right now.
What does that have to do? What does this have to do with Christianity versus Islam, bro? You're talking about a Jewish ethno-state. What the hell are you talking about?
Whole play online that there's a ceasefire. There's a yellow line. And if you cross that line, you're going to get murdered without any question asked.
I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to our friends at Maine First Project for sponsoring DebateCon 6, as they also believe in the values of free speech and...
Oh my gosh, Lord have mercy. I'm going to let him finish this ad. Bro, this is beyond parody. This is beyond parody at this point, bro. Lord have so much mercy. Oh my goodness.
We're set for you, Mike, for your first rebuttal. That's 10 minutes.
Don't worry. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready on your first word. Start the timer.
All right. Appreciate that. How's everybody doing? Let's wake up the crowd. Come on. See? That is how you wake up a crowd. Thank you. All right. So let's get into this right here. A lot of stuff to go through. Not a lot of data, as we can all see. Again, this is about the data. We're not arguing. Is Islam good and is Christianity good? We're arguing which is better. And I already said in my opening statement, I'm not going to say everything about Islam is bad. Let's talk about the last thing you said. I never said you...
I'll be the bad guy, and I'll say it.
I think you're a really good person. You obviously treat her well. You're obviously better than a lot of Muslims because, again, the data shows that, again, when we go through the meta-ethnography in the review I cited, we see higher levels of abuse. That does not mean all Muslims do it. I'm not saying that at all. You want a hadith on this? Okay, we'll go to Sunan Abu Dawud 2146. Okay. So, do not beat Allah's handmaids, but when Umar came to the messenger of Allah and said, women have become emboldened towards their husbands, he, the prophet, gave permission to beat them. Then many women came round to families of the messenger of Allah, complaining against their husbands. So the messenger of Allah said, many women have gone round Muhammad's family, complaining against their husbands. They are not the best among you. Okay, so he says, not the best among you. Fair enough. But he still gave them permission. Why is he giving them permission if they're going to do it and it's going to cause them to be bad people? That's a problem right there. So, odd thing to say there. Okay, let's go through some of these points here. You talked about Israel. Israel's not a Christian nation. How many Andrew Wilson fans are here? Oh, okay. How many of you are Andrew Wilson fans support Israel? Oh, lo and behold, look, there's disagreement among Christians on this issue. I'm shocked. I'm seriously shocked.
And the vast majority of Christians, it's just the dispies, bro. It's just the evangelicals. The vast majority of Catholics, Orthodox, High Church Protestants, they all don't like Israel, bro. So it's like this is literally like
this
just
is an American phenomenon. A lot of Christians around the world don't actually hold to that.
Exactly.
He says he wanted to hear my opinions, not research. Do I need to even go further? This isn't a debate about opinions. This is a debate about what the facts are, and facts don't care about your feelings. Okay. We all know that.
Here we go. We got Ben Shapiro.
He says I uttered a slur against his prophet. No, I didn't. I stated what is in the DSM-5. If you're having intercourse with a 9-year-old girl, they are called non-exclusive pedophiles because a non-exclusive pedophile, someone who's attracted to prepubescent and women. Okay, that is just a clinical term. Okay, if you want to call that an insult, I'm sorry, facts are insults. I don't have to tell you. He says Muslims do follow Jesus. You guys denote him. That's our problem. It's like taking the CEO of a company and making him the janitor. We say he's God. Mm-hmm. That's it. When you say that he's just a prophet, that's an insult to us. Okay, so you can say it any day you want. It still is insulting to us.
So no, I don't believe that the majority of Roman Catholics are becoming Zionist. They're very sympathetic to Judaism, the religion of Judaism. They're not really like, even in the Vatican, like even the Pope has been actually pretty strong on like the Israel issue. He's not really Zionist. He's not even Zionist. He doesn't even have Zionist tendencies. It's more just like the religion of Judaism. And this is what I'm going to go over in my members only stream today. It's the religion of Judaism that he's sympathetic to, not the nation state of Israel. And by the way, the religion is way more problematic than the nation state of Israel. The nation state of Israel is like the fruit of the religion. Okay? Like the fundamental problem is the religion. So, anyways,
it's like if I started calling you by your first job title, whatever it was, like if you were a clerk or you stock shelves, you'd be like, no, I've done many other things, yeah, and you'd be right about that. He agrees Muslims need more education. Yeah, thank you. I guess I win the debate. Yes, we see that Christian societies have already done this better. We've educated our people better. Therefore, we're creating more optimal societies. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for that concede. Appreciate it. He says we're declaring war on Islam. Spiritually, yes, we are. We're not declaring right now any sort of physical war on Islam. This is a spiritual war. Okay? We disagree with Islam. We think it's bad for humanity. We think they teach false doctrine.
Well, it can be physical insofar as mass deportations. And they're lucky we're not taking the Vlad route. We're just doing mass deportations.
We as Christians are called to stand against that. That is a command from our Lord Jesus Christ. So at the end of the day, yes, we spiritually will stand against anything that stands against the gospel. Okay? That doesn't mean we're not going to be peaceful. That doesn't mean we're not going to resort to violence as the first to go. As again, I cited a bunch of research showing that Christians reduce.
Only in self-defense. Only in self-defense. And it's self-defense to protect our women and children from the disgusting religion of Islam that seeks to, again, beat them and marry them when they're children. So, and also marry their own cousins, which is, again, problematic because it reduces IQ and therefore increases violence. So we have to take measures of self-defense via deportations, which is why I believe that Muslims don't belong in America. If you're going to be a Muslim in America, you're going to have to live contrary to your own religion. Therefore, you're not even a Muslim.
Violence around the world. We reduce discrimination. Again, Jonathan Fox found that in Muslim countries, there is 5 times the level of discrimination than what you find in Christian ones. So he says Muslims are persecuted and discriminated around the world. I want to tell you, Muslims are doing a heck ton of persecution, apparently. Again, look at what Grimm and Finke found in their book, The Price of Freedom Denied. Okay, they know this is coming from Islam. It's not something that is divorced from Islam. Islam is causing this kind of discrimination. It leads to more discrimination, and it's horrible. So this is one of the reasons we're going to.
No, I'm not saying the mass deportations are here yet. Trump has not come through on mass deportations. The mass deportations are going to be coming in the UK via Restore Britain, and then in here after I become supreme dictator. That's a joke, but no, we are going to mass deportations are coming. Okay, they're coming. We're working on that and dethroning Zog simultaneously, and then but hey, look. What Trump has done well is he stopped the bleeding. Okay, we have net negative migration according to bookings, which Rachel Wilson, shout out to your husband Andrew because he's brought this up, and this is a really good point he makes about Trump. Is hey, at least we stopped the bleeding on mass migration to at least pave the way for somebody to actually administer mass deportations
against Islam. He wants to talk about genocide. What about all the Christians being genocided in Nigeria and throughout Africa? Okay, being beheaded in the Congo. This is horrible stuff. Okay, we as Christians condemn all genocides. If there's one going on in Gaza, I condemn it. Okay, but that's not the topic of the debate tonight. The topic is what is going to make society better, humanity better, Christianity or Islam. The data clearly shows it's Christianity. Again, you guys want less war and conflict? Christianity is going to give you a better society. You want less discrimination? You want better treatment of minority groups in the country? Christianity is going to give that. There's no wonder Muslims flee their countries they created and come to ours. They're being treated better here than the way our people are being treated over there. Okay? That needs to be noted. And what Israel is doing has nothing to do with this because you got to actually show a study showing that somehow that is correlated to Christian beliefs. Okay? There's a simple way to do this. When I debated Aaron Ra on if Christianity is dangerous, I said, look, you want to show Christianity is dangerous? Here's how you do it. You show something in the Bible. Then you show you have the right interpretation, and most Christians agree with that interpretation, and then show it leads to harm. Okay? He couldn't do that. I can easily do that with Islam. Okay? The Quran in Surah 4 says...
Yeah, no, I mean, it's possible that the data is... Well, I'm just talking about, look, it does seem like the data points to net negative migration right now. And so, I mean, yeah, we can contest the data. Look, I mean, the reality is we need people to notice in order to achieve mass deportations. So in that sense, it's good that you're noticing we need more people to notice. This is how normies get woken up, right? Normies get woken up when they walk into their favorite mall and it looks like freaking Saudi Arabia, right? That's how normies get woken up. And so we kind of need that to happen in order to actually achieve the mass deportations that are necessary to get our country back.
Polygamy is permissible. Okay? That's pretty straightforward. Most Muslims agree with that. And then we see polygamy leads to horrible, horrible consequences. Okay? I could just win the debate with polygamy alone. Because what happens with polygamy? Okay, so let's just do the math here. Okay? Okay, humans have produced roughly an equal number of men and women. Okay? When you have top men take multiple wives, that means the bottom percentage of men don't have wives. What do they do then? They join gangs, terrorist organizations. They commit violence. Muslims say often that they are sometimes the biggest victims of terrorism. Duh. You're the ones creating societies that foster that. When you leave 30% of the young men, 20, depending on what nation you're in, percentage can vary. You leave them alone without the prospect of having a wife or starting a family. What do you think they're going to do? Thank God Christianity outlawed polygamy early on because we see that taught in the New Testament. And I'd argue it's also in Leviticus 18:18, but that's another topic.
So this is the type of stuff. Listen, I'm far from a Trump shill. Okay, you guys know I'm not a Trump shill. All right, Trump is not doing nearly enough for as far as the immigration issue. But this is the type of stuff that makes us not taken seriously, right? Like, why would we? Do you have an actual reason to question the numbers? Do you have an actual reason, or is it just you don't like Trump? So you're not trusting the numbers. Now, if someone wants to present to me an actual argument based on some sort of data, something that I can actually tangibly demonstrate, right? Okay, great. Kind of like we're able to do with Epstein, right? Like the ties between Epstein's banker and Donald Trump Jr.'s new wife, right? This type of stuff we can actually demonstrate objectively, right? We can demonstrate objectively that Benjamin Netanyahu has been to the White House 6 times, that Trump allowed the annexation of the Golan Heights in 2019, right? That he took hundreds of millions of dollars from Miriam Adelson. This is the type of stuff that allows us to be taken seriously. When we start making comments like this, and no offense, but these are the type of comments that make people think we're just all whack jobs who don't know what we're talking about. Okay, we need to be careful about how we demonstrate these things, okay, so that we can win more people over, so that we can actually elect somebody, right? So we can actually put people in power who are going to be actually America first. Okay? But we're not going to be able to win people over with this type of rhetoric. I'm sorry to say. So that's all I'm saying. If someone wants to demonstrate to me how it's legit, right? Yeah, I'm a whack job, he says. That's cool, man. That's great. That's cool. If you want to demonstrate, so it's name calling. All I asked you for is, hey, can you actually demonstrate it? Can you actually demonstrate your claim via some sort of data point or anything? The vote is rigged. Like, this is the type of stuff I'm saying, guys. This is the type of stuff I'm saying. We're just not going to be taken seriously. You guys want to be taken seriously? You want to actually make a difference? This is the type of rhetoric that's got to go. And it's not even that I'm saying it's wrong. I'm saying if it's undemonstrable, if it's not demonstrable, then it's got to go. We have enough to work with actual objective facts. I just gave you a whole list of objective facts about Trump that we can actually bring up, that we can actually demonstrate. That's the type of stuff. That's the type of stuff. What topic would you like to debate? What topic would you like to debate? The guy asking to debate.
Yeah, a lot of data to go through. I could just sit here and start listing hadiths at this point because I think I've covered just about everything there. So let's go through a couple of these. Sahih al-Bukhari 26:58. The Prophet said, "Isn't a witness of a woman equal to half that of a man?" The woman said, "Yes." He said, "This is because of the deficiency of a woman's mind." So ladies, in Islam, you are equal to half that of a man, and it's because of the deficiency of your mind. Okay? Surah 4:34 gives Muslims permission to strike women, to strike their wives. First, you scold them, you remove them from the bed, and if that doesn't work, then you can hit them. Okay? Now, what do we see in the results?
Dude, like,
what is the
I don't know what you are hearing me say that is like contrary to this. Like, I agree I agree that Trump has basically been a traitor. I agree with that. Okay? My point is that when we demonstrate that he is a traitor, we need to use actual data, actual objective facts, because there are a plethora of them that we can use to demonstrate his failure to fulfill the promises that he made to the country. That's the point. The no more wars president that started a war with Iran, right? And even the biggest Trump apologists admit this, by the way. So this is the type of stuff that we need to focus on. I'm not saying shill for Trump. That's not even close to what I'm saying. I'm saying when we criticize Trump, let's stick to the things we can demonstrate, because it's a bottomless pit. We don't need to resort to things that are undemonstrable. We can use just the demonstrable facts. That's all I'm saying.
Research show, guys. It shows Islam in Muslim families, there is higher levels of domestic violence and abuse, higher levels of intimate partner violence. Where do you think that's coming from? Okay.
Yeah, so this is a great example right here. Okay, this person said it's an objective fact 9/11 was an inside job. There are objective facts about 9/11, right? Like the dancing Israelis, like the I think it was at a bare minimum 60 Israelis, right, that were arrested. These are things that we can actually demonstrate via facts, right, without sounding like freaking whack jobs. This is a great example of my point. There are many questionable facts. Tucker did a whole episode on it about the questionable facts around 9/11. So you can demonstrate those facts without going straight for 9/11 was an inside job. How about you stick to the actual facts and let people come to their own conclusions? That's how we get normies on board, dude. The dancing Israelis is not a myth. That is utterly absurd. The dancing Israelis is not a myth. They were literally arrested, questioned, and eventually sent back to Israel, where they admitted they had prior knowledge of the event. So no, it is not a freaking myth. That is utter nonsense.
It flows for itself. Sahih al-Bukhari 58:25. Aisha talked about a woman who's being beaten and said her skin is greener than her clothes. That's how bad this woman was getting beat. Aisha said, I have not seen women suffering as much as the believing
the dancing
women.
Israelis are a fact. The dancing Israelis are it was an objective fact that Israelis were seen celebrating the event. They were questioned by three-letter organizations. They were sent back to Israel, where they then admitted that they had prior knowledge of the event. Those are objective facts around the dancing Israelis.
Bukhari 58:25. So women were being beat, and then if you go through the rest of the hadith, the Prophet never says, stop beating her. No, that's not even the point of the hadith. I mean, there's so much I could go through. We could cover how Muhammad gave permission to his soldiers to take women as captives and turn them into sex slaves. You can see that throughout the hadith. May not like it, but yeah, that's in there. You can go to places like Jami al-Tirmidhi 3016. You go to Sunan Abu Dawud 2155, I believe that as well. All of these are showing that kind of stuff. Now again, I'm not saying everything about Islam is bad, okay? Islam says to pray, okay? It says to take care of your neighbor, that kind of stuff. These are good things. I'm not saying my opponent is doing all these things. He seems like a pretty decent fellow, okay? That doesn't change the fact that the ideology he's promoting would create a worse world. If you are promoting and spreading Islam, you are successful, you will inevitably make the world a worse place. That's not my opinion. That is the results of the research. That is the data. That is what we see coming out. Again, more discrimination, more war and conflict, more authoritarianism, okay? More spousal abuse, okay? Less political stability, less education, lower life expectancies for women. This is why the data is so important. Because if I was just going to sit up here and give you my opinions, we'd get nowhere. Because it would just be his opinion versus mine. What's the tiebreaker? What are the facts? These are the facts. This is why I always go to the studies. Because I want to give you facts. So you know what reality is. The rest of your points were irrelevant for the topic of the debate, so I'm not going to address them, but I appreciate it.
Over to the rebuttal from Junior as well. I've got the timer set for you for 10 minutes. Junior, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, James. I hope that's not an Israeli tattoo on your forearm. I really hope I'm not debating a Mossad agent today. But you said that our prophet said we're going to hit women. I've never hit my wife. And I think you're a liar, because there are several hadiths that explicitly forbid hitting women. Sahih Muslim, the Messenger of Allah said, do not strike the female servants of Allah. I am a servant of Allah. Everyone is a servant of Allah. I say Jesus is a servant of Allah. Jesus did the will of his Father, right? It's not a disrespectful thing. Every single creation, there's a verse in the Quran that says, it is not befitting for God to have a son. Everything in this world, in the heavens and the earth, is a servant of Allah. And Allah knows them by their numbers. He knows every single one of them. So Allah, when He creates and He knows His creation. You said that the Prophet tells us to hit our wives. I didn't expect that from you, Michael. That's a blatant lie.
Yeah, so people that are saying this is a conspiracy theory, I just it blows my mind that you guys, I mean, do I need to do a whole episode on the dancing Israelis? Do I need to do a whole episode on it? It doesn't matter if they were dancing. Thank you. Exactly. It doesn't matter if they were dancing or not. The point is that they were happy about the event, and they later told Israeli media that their purpose there was to document this event. That was what they told the Israeli media after the fact. They were arrested. Several of them had ties to Mossad. Okay? So these are objective facts. If I need to do a whole episode on the objective facts around this, I will. But if those of you who think this is a conspiracy theory, you guys have been fed. You're just reasserting that it's a myth doesn't debunk it. Just reasserting that it's a myth doesn't debunk it.
Sunan Abu Dawood, he said, never hit your wives. Then he became angry when some men hit their wives. Those are hadiths that you're speaking on, because hadiths are simply conversations. They are not laws. They are not recommendations. A hadith does not stand on its own without the Quran. And the Quran does not say to hit women. I dare you.
This is the problem when I do these lives against Muslims, is I have these Zios that show up. These absolute brain dead Zios that show up, calling me low IQ, when I just demonstrated the objective fact that they told Israeli media after the event that they were there to document it. What are you talking about? It's got to be rage bait, bro. If this is rage bait, W rage bait. W rage bait. You got me. All right, W rage bait.
A verse in the Quran that says to strike women. You can't. Next hadith. Yeah, I know he got excited on now. He's like, yeah, I'm going to find it. You can't. I have a Quran right here. You want to take it? Hadith 3. Musnad Ahmad. Could any of you beat your wife as he beats a slave and then lie with her in the evening? This is the Prophet condemning hitting totally. You don't even want to know what happened to the guy who beat his wife until she got green. Hadith 4, Sahih Bukhari. Aisha radiallahu anha, his youngest wife, the most controversial marriage out of his 11 marriages. She said, the Prophet never struck anything with his hand, neither a woman nor a servant. So are you calling Aisha a liar? Because clearly Islam is built on the actions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, not his words, not the advice that he gave to people. We follow the sunnah, which is his actions. He never hit a woman. Why should I? Because Michael...
That's also incorrect. There's a hadith that does talk about... I'm multitasking here because I'm refuting the people in the comments about the dancing Israelis. But there's literally... Aisha does document an event where he does actually beat her. So that's incorrect.
Jones tells me to? No. Because I'm poor or because I'm an alcoholic, I don't drink alcohol. The Quran never, and I know you're going to jump to chapter 4, verse 34. You cannot use that verse to say Quran says harm women. Okay? The Arabic word daraba has 40 linguistic meanings.
So someone said there's no credible evidence except the FBI themselves concluded that 2 of the dancing Israelis did have ties to Mossad. In fact, were Mossad operatives. The FBI concluded that. So I'm trying to figure out where you're getting your information because that's objectively incorrect.
If he tries to stick to one of them and make his point, he's conceded the entire debate. To anybody who's serious and understands the Quran, they're never going to believe what Michael Jones has to say. The meaning, the specific linguistic meaning of the word daraba, let me teach you. I'm Muslim. I read Arabic. I read the Quran. It means to separate from her. When your woman gives you a hard time, leave the room. If she keeps giving you a hard time and she doesn't take, you leaving the room as a sign that maybe she did something wrong, and she keeps going, then leave the house. That's what he didn't say about the hadith that he mentioned. It says to leave the house, not to hit her, not to insult her, not to escalate the matters. And if she still doesn't get better, she's still oppressing you as a husband, then you have the right to divorce her. So even in Islam, you're not allowed to divorce your wife if she's annoying. You can't do that. You can't just divorce your wife unjustly. There are so many hadiths from the Prophet that condemns divorcing a woman unjustly. He even went as far as marrying divorced women who were divorced unjustly. He went as far as marrying widows who were suffering so.
So right here, part of the Sahih Muslim collection. And so Sahih Hadith, Aisha documents that he struck me in the chest, which caused me pain. So he just said that they emulate Muhammad's life. Well, Muhammad himself explicitly did actually beat his child bride Aisha, according to Aisha's own document.
That all they needed was a home, a loving home, and a strong man. And that is what he provided for them. But unfortunately, we live in a society today where people consume porn, people consume a lot of degenerate content, people consume so much negativity that if you live around that and try to understand Islam, it's never gonna happen. You need to go into the woods for 3 months, isolate yourself, cleanse yourself, ground yourself on the.
Notice how the Dancing Israelis folks are quiet now because I just debunked both of the things they said.
Ground, walk barefoot. When's the last time you did that, Michael Jones? I dare you after this debate. Leave this room, go outside.
See, notice after when you bring up the facts, they have nothing to say, right? And guess what? I wonder how many normies are watching this live right now, right? Who didn't know that there were some objective facts around the Dancing Israelis, that 2 of them had ties to Mossad, that they were arrested and questioned by 3-letter agencies here in America, that when they got back to Israel, they said they were here to document the event. These are objective facts that I wonder how many normies watching this, because I stuck to the facts. Yes, now you know 2 of the men were Mossad operatives. Exactly. Thank you. So now, since we stuck to the objective facts, people, normies watching, they're like, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this whole Dancing Israelis thing.
Walk on the grass barefoot. You need to isolate yourself from Western society and Western propaganda to understand the true meaning of Islam. Islam is better for humanity because you cannot prove that it's not good for humanity.
What?
Rainbow flags in a church? You'll never see that in a mosque. Don't tell me to go to the church.
I wonder
as
if
a
they
Muslim
do in Scandinavia.
if there's a rainbow flag on that big door. I'm not going in there. Yes, Islam causes more violence. It causes more problems. But you know what? It also has very severe punishments for those who cause violence and cause problems. Because Islam came as a religion for all of mankind. Everyone. Not the Arab, not the English person who doesn't know how to read. No, it came for everyone. God said this is a book for all of mankind. This is a literal verse in the Quran. So I'm not speaking from my own will when I say Islam is better for humanity. I'm speaking on behalf of every single human soul. Christians need education too. You say Muslims need education. Well, Christians need education too. You guys are genociding Palestine. You don't want to take credit for that? You don't want to take credit for supporting Israel and killing my family? Shame on you. I thought you were better than that with that Mossad tattoo on your forearm.
What?
They're not going to send you that $7,000 check after this debate.
What is he talking about?
Why are you talking to a Muslim if you don't want to learn? You don't want to learn? You don't think Christians need education about Islam? You don't think the division in this country...
We don't need education about Islam, actually. We need zero education. Yeah, actually, we need education about Muhammad's life. That's what we need. We need more education about this warlord who married a child and also married his own cousin. That's what we need. We need more education about that and the apostasy laws that this guy either believes in or he rejects his own hadith.
It's really bad. You didn't even condemn the genocide in Gaza, man. You said, what about the genocide in Nigeria? I condemn the genocide in Nigeria. Any Muslim killing a Christian in Nigeria, I hope to God that when Jesus returns, he will make an example out of you for humanity. Because Muslims who kill are some of the worst people. But you know what? In Christianity, salvation is exclusive to Christians.
Yep, so somebody in the comments just said, I had no idea about the facts on the dancing Israelis. There you go. Now you know. Now you know, right? Now you know they're actually, this isn't a conspiracy theory. Now, it's exaggerated. There's people that exaggerate it, right? But there are some questionable facts around these individuals. Why are they watching this event happen? Why are they laughing and smiling? Why are they telling the Israeli media after that they were there to document the event? Why do they have ties to Mossad? Kind of weird. That's all I'm saying. Draw your own conclusions. Those are the facts. I'm here to present the facts.
Islam, salvation, is non-exclusive to Muslims. It is available and provided for every single creation. Islam tells you to earn salvation, all you have to do is have a mustard seed weight of faith in your heart. That's a very powerful and famous.
I wonder where they got that
parable,
from.
if you guys know it.
I wonder where they got that
If you
from.
have a mustard seed weight of faith in your heart, you will enter
Does
heaven.
anyone know any religious literature where it talks about a mustard seed faith? Something that predates Islam. I'm trying to think of something, anything. Let me know if it comes to mind for you guys. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm drawing a blank here on what it could be. What it could be. What was it? What was it? Let me know. Help me out in the comments, guys.
What are we worried about? Why are we worried about who's right and wrong? If we both believe in Jesus, if we both believe Jesus is the Messiah, if we both believe Jesus is returning, what is the reason that we need to be divided? You have your reasons. I don't have any.
Now I feel like I got to show you this hadith where it literally says that we're going to atone. We're going to literally go through hellfire. Christians are going to go through hellfire to atone for mass murderers in Islam.
Islam is better for humanity because Muslims do not seek to be divided from the people. When my wife puts on the hijab, she looks like Virgin Mary. I can't look at her and insult her. I can't look at her and think any negative thought. I can't even look at her past and think, oh, maybe she's not pure. Maybe, because she's a Western gal and she's wearing this covering on her head, it has to be a lie. Women have the choice to wear whatever they want in the West. You're never going to take that right away. You're never going to take the hijab off of women's heads. It will always be here, Michael. It will always be here in America.
Switch it over to Mike for his 5-minute rebuttal. I have the timer set for you, Mike, on your first word.
Well, this has never happened before where my opponent conceded the debate, but thank you. I appreciate that. As everyone was clapping. Yes, you conceded the debate because you said, yes, Islam causes more violence. And in your prior opening statement, you said, yeah, there's less education. All right, so you conceded that. So, anyway, now he says this is a Mossad tattoo. This is Hosea 4:6. Did Mossad write the Bible? Is it sacred scripture?
Sorry, I can't remember. Was it Muhammad's? Did he sleep with his? Did he sleep with his aunt too? Was it his aunt and his cousin? Anyone who knows more about it? I know he married his cousin, and I think he also slept with his aunt. I think he married his aunt too. Those of you who know more than me.
For Christians, wasn't it written in Hebrew? Okay, great. And by the way, Hosea 4:6 is, "My people are destroyed
Not
for
a
lack."
single person in the audience
James.
can read that.
Constrained to just Mike speaking during Mike's rebuttal.
Yeah, thank you. Can you give me a little more time there? Yeah. This is Hosea 4:6. "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I have it on there to remind me so I don't make opening statements like that." All right. He says there's hadith that forbid hitting women. He's right. This is the problem with the hadith. They're filled with contradictions. If you want to...
Yeah, so this is one of... this is supposedly was his aunt, and was one of his wives as well. I can't remember if he also married his cousin or if it was his aunt that I'm talking about.
Find a hadith that allows muta marriage, you can find it. If you want one that outlaws it, you can find it. I'm just simply pointing out. I didn't say the Prophet tells Muslims to hit their wives. I didn't say that. I didn't say the Prophet hit his wives. I said there is a hadith
He did, though.
where he does give permission. I also never said hit
and
women.
he does hit
He brought
them.
up Surah 4:34, but according to the commentators like Ibn Kathir, that does refer to beating. He said it means if advice and ignoring her in the bed do not produce the desired results, you're allowed to discipline the wife without severe beating. So again, it's referring to beating. Not severe. I'll give them that. That's still happening though. Okay? He said earlier, I didn't say Jesus is coming back. Yeah, that's not the debate. Yeah, Jesus is coming back. But I mean, I could just say, you didn't say.
By the way, Aquinas actually does say, I think it's in the Summa, Aquinas allows for beating of wives who are unfaithful. So if a woman commits adultery, he says that she can be beat by her husband.
That the moon landing was real, therefore you must deny the moon landing.
That's a little bit different than the Muslims saying that if she's disobedient, you could beat her. That's a little bit different. A little bit different.
It's absurd. Okay, that's not the debate. He said, I cannot prove Islam is not good. I did. And even if I couldn't, that is what we call fallacy. It's called the argument from ignorance. Okay? You have to prove it's good. I don't have to prove it's not good. And I demonstrated a bunch of research that Christianity is better. He conceded Islam causes more violence. He said we are genociding Palestine. Again, we are not. I said if there's one happening there, I fully condemn it. I do not know. There's so much propaganda going out there right now. I don't have time to research it. If there's a genocide, I completely, 100% condemn it, and Israel should be ashamed. Okay? But again, so much propaganda has been going around. I have no idea what to say about this. If it is there, I fully condemn it, and I condemn Israel for it. There. Okay. He says in Islam, there's non-exclusive salvation. Great. Everyone be a Christian. You get to go to heaven in two religions now. You get the point? If we're going to heaven in Islam, but you're not going to heaven as a Muslim, okay, then that just is a great argument for Christianity.
Yeah. And it's also just not true. Like, it's also just not true. And I'm pulling up this hadith here that shows that we're literally going to burn in hell.
Practically speaking. Because now you profess Jesus as Lord, but you're wrong by some sheer luck. Guess what? You still go to heaven in Islam. Okay, you've covered the two world major religions. Congratulations, everybody. You did it. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what else to say here. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff to address here. Because again, I have said, if we're going to study this, we look at it from a sociological perspective. We see studies comparing Islam, Christianity. Christianity always comes out on top. Okay? And all the studies I brought up always comes out on top. Therefore, Christianity is better. If Islam leads to less education, if it leads to more violence, that's the debate there. That's the end of the debate right there. He's conceded that point. Therefore, Christianity is better. He's not shown any way that Islam is better. I need to see some actual data. His opinions are not good enough. And I want to reiterate, I'm not accusing him of all the problems I brought up. He is a Western Muslim. He's influenced by the West. He is a good person as far as I can tell. He's not beating his wife as far as I can tell. And I would never accuse him of that without actual clear evidence of it. So I just want to be clear about this, okay? I'm going on what the actual...
Yeah, so what he's saying is he's living contrary. The point is that he's living contrary to his own religion, right? That's the point he's making.
Data shows. If you're offended by the data, you're offended by facts. This is a debate about the research. If you're going to debate which is better, you need to come with actual facts, because this is a sociological debate, not a mere religious or philosophical one. That is the most important point here. And if we're conceding that there's less education, more violence in Islam, game over, Christianity creates better societies. And again, the results speak for themselves. Where is everyone immigrating to? The world, the society, the civilization that Christianity built. The society we built that ended slavery, that gave value to children, that fostered and helped develop modern science, that educated the world by creating hundreds of written languages around the world so people could read the Bible. Okay? This is the religion that has made the world great.
I'm doing a call-in show on Saturday where I'm debating Zionists. So if you're a Zionist, you can call into that show. I don't know what and then I do with Nick, I debate people that are sympathetic to Islam. So I don't know what topic you want to debate. But I just demonstrated, this was the guy who earlier was like rambling about like conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, I just demonstrated to a lot of normies, right, and to everyone here, that my approach is way better than yours, because everyone thought that this was a conspiracy theory, and I was able to just demonstrate the facts using my tactics. So I don't know saying you're an Orthodox Christian is not helpful. I don't know what you want to debate me on.
We will switch it over to Junior for his 5-minute rebuttal as well. The timer set for you, Junior.
Thank you. That's the same religion responsible for the Holocaust, by the way.
Bro, what? What are you talking about? What an utterly nonsensical thing to say. Christianity was responsible for the Holocaust? What the hell are you talking about?
Look, I'll be honest, Michael. Honestly, debating you is way too easy, because...
Yeah, this dude can call in. Nick and I do, usually on Saturdays, Saturdays at 5 o'clock over on Fearless Truth's channel. I debate Muslims, whether or not Muslims are compatible with America. That's the topic that I debate. So you're welcome to call in and debate me on that. So this dude, I did not say that you were a whack job. I said that we come across as whack jobs when first of all, welcome to memberships to Ronnie. Thanks for joining. We're going to be doing a members only stream at the end here. So welcome to that. We're not even close to the end. We still got quite a bit of ways to go here. But I did not say that you were a whack job. I said the way that you're presenting this stuff is a whack job thing. If you have data to contest the bookings study that said that there is net negative migration, because that was what I cited. If you have data for why bookings is wrong, let me know. Shoot it to me via a DM. I said out at the beginning that if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be corrected about. I just need to know. Listen, I have to be able to defend the position. So if you have, I'm all about shitting on Trump, dude. So if you have data for why bookings is wrong about net negative migration, please send it to me. Please send it to me. But I just proved that your tactic of spewing 9/11 was an inside job, is a horrible tactic for trying to get truth across, for trying to win people over to our view. That is the entire point of what I said. So, but welcome Ronnie to memberships. Like I said, going to be doing a members only stream. Going to go over some Roman Catholic stuff at the end. So stick around for that. And those of you who want to join, you can become members. I appreciate the memberships because they're monthly ways to support me. So I appreciate that. All right, back to work.
Look, I'll be honest. You ran out of things to say. You retracted your statement condemning the genocide in Gaza. You said,
what?
There's a genocide in Gaza. I condemn it. You have been exposed to the whole world today, Michael, and you don't even know it because you're so arrogant. You're so arrogant that you read a Hebrew verse to your English audience. And you expect one of them to read it? Nobody can read this verse. Nobody can read Hebrew in your audience. You have a Hebrew tattoo and you're showing it off. That's a simple sign of your arrogance. Society is built by people, not by robots, not by systems.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. I looked it up. Can't believe I hadn't heard of the dancing Israelis before. Do you see that dude trying to debate me who's in the comments earlier? Do you see how much better this works when we stick to the facts, when we don't come across as whack jobs? I'm not saying you are a whack job. I'm saying your talking points make you seem like one, and nobody's going to listen to you. If you just give the facts, people listen to you. If you show them, look, the FBI said 2 of these people had ties to Mossad. Notice that guy that was contesting it left, or he's in the comments, but he's quiet. I don't know. But the point is that when we actually demonstrate the data, then it's people. We get normies on our side, dude. This is how we win. This is how we win. You want to win? You want to beat Trump? You want to actually get someone good in office? That's how we do it. Not by spewing nonsense. Okay, that's undemonstrable, impossible to demonstrate. It's literally a chat with limits on words. The point in stating that 9/11 was an inside job is to prove an entire government is illegitimate. You're not proving anything, though, because you're just making an assertion without demonstrating anything. All you're doing is just saying it was an inside job without actually showing the facts that might lead someone to that conclusion. That's the difference, bro. That's the difference.
People. Michael, you have not shown me that you're a good person. I've shown you. I did a good job of that. You didn't. That's the difference. Muslims leave their house every day to show humanity that they can provide value, that they can add value. Because every single human being in this world is a stranger. Every single human being in this world has been created by God and is returning to God. No one is staying here forever. So to tell me that Muslims who literally do not fear death are bad for humanity? No, my friend. You need people to die for Jesus. You wouldn't die for Jesus, Michael. I would. I would die for Jesus. If Jesus returned and told me to march for him, I would march for him. If Jesus told me to die for him, I would die for him. But you don't understand why a Muslim would think that. How come a Muslim is thinking that? He clearly has to be a good Muslim, right? The bad Muslims clearly say something else. The bad Muslims would never say what Jvnior says. Jvnior is a heretic. He doesn't speak from the Quran. Let me show you a verse from the Quran. Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. Can you debate that? Can you debate the verse that God revealed about religion? You're telling me that religion makes society better? Or is it the person? Muslims, okay, have not been given a chance to show what they are capable of doing for society. Your algorithm on your feed that feeds you all the information that you know about Christianity was made by a Muslim. Algebra was made by a Muslim. The number 0 was made by a Muslim. Modern science would not be a thing if it wasn't for Muslims. Have some respect. We are both followers of Jesus. When you say that Islam is not better for humanity, it's because you're taking hadiths out of context. You prove that. You prove that there are hadiths that contradict what you said. I think you conceded the debate, my friend. I think you really ended your career tonight, bro. You ended your career.
Bro,
I'm
how
a
disconnected from
27-year-old
reality can you be,
Palestinian
bro?
Muslim that suffered genocide for 700 days. And you're calling me a bad person? When you couldn't even condemn the genocide in Gaza, you said, if there's a genocide, if. Did my family die or not?
So, Sahih Abu Kari, this is what I was talking about earlier. Sahih Abu Kari, what do we got here? Oh, no, sorry. Sahih Muslim, 2767a says, and this, look at the title of this. The acceptance of the repentance of the one who kills, even if he has killed a great deal. So we're talking about mass murderers here. Okay, this hadith is about mass murders. It says, when it will be the day of resurrection, Allah would deliver to every Muslim, a Jew or Christian, and say, this is your rescue from hellfire. There would come people amongst Muslims on the day of resurrection with heavy sins as a mountain, which we're talking about mass murderers here, and Allah would forgive them, and he would place in their stead the Jews and Christians. So when they try to sing Kumbaya, these people like to sing Kumbaya about how, oh, you know, we're all just friends, man. We're all just friends, and everybody gets to go to heaven. Yeah, no, that's not what your hadith says, bro. Your hadith says mass murderers who are Muslim are going to be atoned for. Their sins are going to be atoned for via Christians and Jews. That's how their sins are going to be atoned for. We're going to go into hellfire to pay for the sins of mass murdering Muslims, according to their Sahih Hadith.
Oh, let me check. Let me check the pictures if they died. Let me see if they're green enough for Michael to know that they're dead and they're severely harmed. I didn't cry on stage today because I don't have mercy. Fear. The Bible says do not be afraid 365 times. Oh my gosh. That means, why should you even have fear for a single day of your life? Why should you be afraid of being wrong? Why should you be afraid of making a mistake?
This is as low tier. Like,
that's
it doesn't
it
literally does not get lower tier than this, bro. It doesn't get lower tier than this.
That's what most Christians make you believe. You make a single mistake, you believe Jesus is not God. Guess what? No salvation for you, my friend. But in Islam, it's different. If you seek God, your creator, without knowing him,
we got two new fallacies invented today. Appeal to TikTok fallacy and the new appeal to crying fallacy. These are our two new fallacies admitted today from our boy Junior here.
Michael doesn't believe that, but the Quran says that. The Quran literally explicitly states that you will never enter heaven by your deeds or your works, and that religion is not compulsory. So Islam is better for humanity.
We're going to jump into the open dialogue. I'm willing to give it a shot as a purely spontaneous dialogue, but if there are interruptions, I'll have to jump into 90-second responses. Floor is yours, John.
You said on X that Islam is against child marriage. Can you back that up?
Is there an age of marriage mentioned in the Bible?
That wasn't my question.
Answer my question, and I'll answer yours.
No.
Okay, I won't answer your question.
You're not going to answer my question?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to say that Islam does allow and promote child marriage.
I would say that the legal age of consent in the United States was 12 years old in the 1900s, and that America is a failed country by your logic.
By the way, I looked it up. So remember how Hakikachu said that the age of consent was 12 in Christian nations? Bro, I looked it up. In Byzantium, this is crazy. In the Byzantine Empire, the age of consent for women was 18 and for men was 20. In the Byzantine Empire, bro. In like medieval times. So that Hakikachu clown was freaking lying.
Wait a minute, is it now?
No.
Then we made moral progress. Congratulations, everyone. Can Islam do the same thing, please?
America's not a failed country. You know why? Because they changed the consent laws as the biological age of human beings.
Why do we do that, though?
Why? Because if you have a society where the lifespan is 40 years old, the woman's going to get married at 9 years.
Yo, yo, yo. We're back. Yo, yo, yo. You guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's see here. Let's get back here to where
Hebrew in your audience.
Yo. How y'all doing? Yo, thanks for sticking around, guys. Thanks for sticking around. You could hear me? Good, good. What's up, y'all? How is that even possible? What do you mean you could hear me? You could hear me when it shut down? All right. My priest is going to be here in an hour and a half, so I got to wrap this up here, but let's keep going. Oh, okay. People are... Someone scissored my floorboards. Yeah, someone hit me with the curse. I'm going to have to figure it out. It was a short circuit, guys. It was a short circuit. So if anyone's got any tips for that. All right, let's get back to business.
You have a Hebrew tattoo and you're showing it off. That's a simple sign of your arrogance. Society is built by people, not by robots, not by systems. People. Michael, you have not shown me that you're a good person. I've shown you. I did a good job of that. You didn't. That's the difference. Muslims leave their house every day to show humanity that they can provide value, that they can add value. Because every single human being in this world
is this where we were?
Every single human being in this world has been created by God and is returning to God. No one is...
No, we were...
Late teens.
Late teens?
Yeah,
we were over here. Yeah. Okay, sorry. We already watched this part.
She was a very young teenager.
Says who? Says who?
She was betrothed after her.
Let's back it up.
Going to get married at 9 years old, whether you like it or not, because she has only 30 years to live. Whether you like it or not,
right here. This is where we were.
The reality of the world in the past.
Wait, you think everyone was marrying at 900 years ago?
What age did Rebecca get married in the Bible?
Oh,
it doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
Show me where it says the age Rebecca was married.
This is from the Talmud.
Did Mary give birth to Jesus in the proto-evangelical?
Probably late teens.
Late teens?
Yeah, according to the research by Michael Satlow.
She was a very young teenager.
Says who?
Says who? She was betrothed after her first menstrual cycle.
Bro, you should have watched
my
debate.
She was able to become pregnant, and that's how she got betrothed to Joseph.
Bro, I got Junior crashing out in my DMs about using this image. Using the image I used for the he's crashing out in my my DMs about using the image of him. I don't even know, like I always delete this after. I always delete my promo post after anyway. But my goodness. Bro is crashing out.
Yeah, actual
Women
research
have to hit puberty in order to get betrothed.
It's not even
a
bad
husband.
image. It's literally just a picture of him.
Radiallahu anha was able to get pregnant. That's when she became eligible for marriage. She was previously engaged to another man before she was engaged to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Are you gonna let me respond, or are you
Go ahead.
going? Okay, so let's talk about the child marriage thing in Mary. Research done by Michael Satlow, Amram Trooper, shows that in Palestine in the first century, on average, girls were marrying between their late teens and early 20s. This idea that she was a young teen, not supported by the data out there. In fact, if you read books like Medieval Maidens, research by Keith Hopkins and Brent Shaw,
You literally just said she's a young teenager.
Let me finish.
You said she's a young teenager.
I said late teens.
Okay. Teenager.
Okay, yeah. Late teens, early 20s. Okay.
Late teens is 4 years difference between early teen and late teen. It's 4 years.
Okay,
So
now let's talk
12,
about Aisha. Let's talk about Aisha.
Let's
So
talk
you think
about Aisha
she hit puberty? You say she hit puberty?
Yes. She
What's
did
the
hit
research
puberty.
that shows that?
The research shows that there are hadith mentioned where she played with dolls. And this hadith is very controversial and it's very important.
I'm glad you brought that
Because
up. Yeah, that's great.
Old girls older than 16 years old are not allowed to play with dolls. She played with dolls. She was older than 16.
Wait a minute, wait. If she played with dolls, that means she's younger than that.
No. In Islam, it's forbidden to play with dolls if you are a teenager.
Yeah, that means when she was a child.
No,
then.
she wasn't a child because it was allowed in the household. She said that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, allowed her. If the hadith said, I was allowed to play with my friends with my dolls. Her friends were younger. She was the oldest. She was the scholar. She was the one who served in war. She was the one who memorized 2,000 hadiths. She's the one who's called the mother of all believers.
The Prophet let her sin then? Because it's forbidden to play with dolls if you're a teenager.
No, but
so he let her sin?
Here's the problem.
He let her sin, right?
Here's the problem. Don't ask me a question that you're not going to like the answer to.
I'm giving you plenty of good answers.
No.
Have you heard of the study Evolution, Development, and the Timing of Puberty, which shows that in the Middle Ages and the medieval period, it's impossible, biologically speaking, for a girl to have reached the age of menarche by the age of 9? The earliest it started was 11.
You're telling me that Aisha radiallahu anha was 9 years old?
Yeah, that's what the hadith says, 5134 of Sahih al-Bukhari.
Are you ready to stand on Judgment Day to prove that to God?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there's nothing to talk about here.
All right, great.
Because
So
I'm not a hadith scholar, and I definitely don't take every single hadith literally.
Bro, I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with this image. He sends me the post. So I told him I'm waiting on God Logic to confirm, right? Sends me my promo post, tells me to delete it, cease from using it, otherwise he's not debating me. Use a different image, bro. It's both disrespectful to me and Michael. How is this disrespect? What is wrong with this image, bro? What is wrong with this image? And then he calls God Logic dog logic, which is disrespectful. So he's talking about disrespect, and then he's disrespectful to God Logic. So I was like, look, send me an image you want for a thumbnail. I don't mind changing the thumbnail. If he has a different pick he wants me to use, that's fine. But if he won't debate me, then I'll find another Muslim who wants the exposure from his platform. There'd be plenty of Muslims, I'm sure, who would want to debate on that size of a platform. So I'm not worried about it. If Junior won't do it, somebody else will.
As a Muslim, have my own personal opinions, and I'm allowed to have that. I believe Aisha radiallahu anha was 19 years old when the marriage was consummated. And she got married when she was 17. Some sources say 16.
Well, let's
so
go to
I believe
something
she was
else.
late teens as well.
Let's go. That's wild.
Are you going to ask me for evidence?
Do you believe in
Would you like
tafsirs?
to
Do you believe in the tafsirs?
He knows I have evidence. That's why he's not asking me for it.
He's just going to show evidence that his hadith contradict themselves. Great. That's wonderful. Islam is filled with contradictions.
I dare you when you go home to ask ChatGPT, how old was Aisha when she got married according to Esma's age? This ends your entire narrative behind this.
He just told him to go ask ChatGPT, bro.
Marriage.
I'm perfectly
of the
fine
Prophet.
saying the hadith are filled with contradictions. I'm perfectly fine with that. But what do you think of the tafsirs like Ibn Kathir? Do you agree with his tafsir?
Look, I have a tafsir of the Quran right here, okay? And all a tafsir means is explanation.
Okay, then can you read Surah 65:4?
A certain publisher. Sure, I can read.
Yeah, read it in English because you guys can't read anything.
Beautiful. I'm glad you're asking me to read the Quran.
Yeah, read Surah 65:4, and then I want to read Ibn Kathir's tafsir about that one.
Sure.
65:4, please. Just want to apologize to the audience. Apparently,
65:4.
So awful, man. 65:4.
This is the command of Allah that He has sent down to you, and whoever fears Allah, He will write off his evil deeds and will give him a huge reward. Is that the right verse?
I don't know. Is it? Because I have the tafsirs up here, and they're talking.
You want me to read the verse before it? Verse before it. And those women from among you who have despaired of further menstruation, if you are in doubt, their iddah is 3 months, as well as of those who have not yet menstruated.
Not yet.
Those who have a medical condition. As for
Not
those
yet.
having pregnancy, their term of iddah is that they give birth to their child.
Is medical conditions in the Arabic?
I'll read you the tafsir here because I'm not going to give you my own.
Oh, I'll give you mine then after that.
This, you're not a Muslim scholar.
Neither
This
are
is, in this kind of,
Take your time. It's all right.
I'm trying to make sure I read the right.
That's fine.
Iddah in this verse means the period in which a divorcee woman cannot marry another man. For a divorcee woman, this period is 3 full periods of menstruation. So this verse specifically talks about divorcees, and the chapter is called the divorce. Go ahead.
All right, let's read what Ibn Kathir says on this verse. He says, so for example, her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycle for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. So it doesn't just say divorced or women with medical conditions. It includes young girls who have not yet menstruated. Therefore, Allah gives permission for child marriage. You can apparently, if you're a Muslim man, marry a girl even if she has not menstruated.
Yeah, this argument is a knockout punch, by the way. This argument is a total knockout.
Abhorrently evil.
Is this really what you took away from a chapter about divorce? What I read is like the husband
Yes.
are obligated to provide residence to their divorcees' wives during the period of iddah.
Yes,
So
it is what he took away because it explicitly says you can marry and consummate and then divorce a girl, a prepubescent girl. That
even
is
if you
what it
divorce
says.
your wife, you're supposed to keep her in your house and provide for her and give her shelter and feed her for 3 months. What does the Bible say about a man who rapes a virgin?
It doesn't say that, but you know more than Ibn Kathir?
Don't deflect.
You know more than Ibn Kathir?
Don't
That
deflect.
is a deflection.
You didn't give me a verse.
Bro, he just deflected to the Bible and then he goes, don't deflect.
Ask
Ibn
you-
Kathir.
I'm reading the tafsir from the Quran. I literally
Me
told
too.
you, you're not a Muslim scholar. You will never understand what iddah means. You don't even understand the root word of iddah.
Okay, so you know more than Ibn Kathir. I just want to verify,
Do you
right?
even know what the word iddah means?
You know more than Ibn Kathir. He won't answer the question. So yeah, so he knows.
I
if he
don't know
knows-
more than Ibn Kathir.
Then Ibn Kathir says you can have sex with prepubescent girls.
Ibn Kathir never said that.
He
I just read it to
does.
you. The same for the young, those who have not reached the years of menstruation. Tafsir on Surah 65:4.
Okay. How many women around the world have
Lord
never
have mercy.
menstruated?
Lord have
Do you
mercy.
deny their rights as women?
No,
The Quran doesn't.
Okay.
That's why it mentions them.
that has nothing to do with my point. I
If
mean,
the Quran was mentioning young children, it would have said children. It wouldn't have used the word woman.
yeah, it talks
Do you
about those who have
understand?
not menstruated, which would include children.
There are women who have never
Yeah,
menstruated.
they're in that category too. It
Haven't
includes the young
reached
girls.
the
They're not
years
children.
of
Yeah,
it.
no, it includes those who have not menstruated, some women, and also the young girls.
So where does Ibn Kathir say that?
I just read it to you in his
You
tafsir.
wanna read it again?
The same for the
Read it
young who
again.
have not reached the years of menstruation. Ibn Abbas said something similar. He says, what about the waiting period for those who have not menstruated because they are too young?
So, by the way, the modern polemic, when you run this argument against them, they'll say that this is not an authentic Ibn Abbas. So Ibn Abbas was Muhammad's cousin, very highly authoritative. They'll say that this is not his authentic tafsir, and they will just say that Ibn Kathir is wrong. That's the modern polemic when you run this argument.
Along with those who have not, because of young age, their waiting period is 3 months.
Okay. So these are divorcees, right?
No, they're
No.
divorcing them that young. I mean,
No.
man, that's even
This-
worse.
this-
They're going through multiple marriages.
this-
This is abuse.
This chapter is literally about divorcees.
Okay.
You denied that. You just said no.
I
it's
didn't say
not.
that. I said it includes them.
You said that this chapter's interpretation leads to Muslims saying I can fuck a child.
Whoa.
That's what you're saying. A Muslim is not allowed to fuck a child.
Jeez.
Why is
A
it
Muslim who
serious?
fucks a child
My
will
goodness,
be
dude.
beheaded and shot.
I hope so.
Yes.
Amen,
Bro,
brother. Amen.
why isn't the law in America reflecting that? Why do you guys have pedophiles that are celebrated like Jeffrey Epstein all around the media? Everyone used to be around him. All of your favorite athletes and pastors and favorite influencers, they all did business.
I'm sure
and went
we're-
to Jeffrey
we're-
Epstein's island.
I'm sure we're all celebrating the elite pedophiles we want thrown in prison.
Let's just say the Epstein files haven't been released for a good reason, because there's a lot of Christians and Jews on there.
I'm sure there
not a
are
single
plenty
Muslim
of
on the
horrible
Epstein
people
list,
on that
okay?
list.
There's not a single Muslim on the Epstein list.
Bro,
Yeah, they don't have
nobody
to stay hidden. They
cares
just go to a
about
Muslim country.
Muslims, bro. Nobody cares about infiltrating Muslims. All your countries are shitholes. Nobody cares about you guys.
They can do it apparently. I mean,
Look.
what's the point here?
Look,
the
Michael,
point is that in America they have to hide. They have to run around with their billions and hide because they know if we see it, we know what's going to happen. The pitchforks will come out. That's why they're trying to hide this, because they know that in this society we condemn that. Meanwhile, you go to Iraq. What's the age of marriage in Iraq right now?
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's
Tell
pretty
me.
low, like 15 or 12, depending on Shia or Shia
Oh,
or Sunni.
15 is low for you?
Yeah, it's low. Yeah,
What about Sam Shamoon?
yeah, he's evil.
Oh
what
my
about David
gosh.
Wood?
Yeah, what he did was
Sam
evil.
Shamoon.
They both raped under 15
Oh,
years
Yeah,
Lord
what they
have
did was
mercy.
evil. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you condemn them.
Yes, I do condemn it. Yes.
Would you accept them into your church?
Depends. Because in Christianity, we have to look at things. Did they repent? Did they serve their time? Did they go through spiritual penance? Have they been forgiven? Yes, in Christianity, we believe that if you go to prison, you serve out your spiritual penance, you repent, you accept Christianity, and then you show that you have actually reformed, like being married to someone for, decades and not cheat on them, then yes, we accept them back into the fold the same way you would in Islam, right?
Great. Okay. So when a chapter comes up as a revelation about divorce, don't you think it's
We're going to go for a few more minutes, guys, and then I'm going to run through super chats, and then we'll do our members only stream.
for people who have made mistakes?
Not
When
according to your
people-
scholars.
I've collabed with Cleve in the past. The person asking if I'll collab with Cleve. I have, I think, 2 or 3 collabs with him. You can just search Luigi on his channel.
The Bible condemns divorce. The Bible
Yeah.
condemns divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce is a bad thing to begin with.
Amen. Preach,
not
brother.
a good thing.
Preach, brother.
Half of American families are divorced. It's not a good
It's horrible, yes.
It's horrible. We should be crying right now, not laughing. My goal is to fix America. My goal as a Muslim, I want to speak.
Fix
I want to put
America.
my face out there for the sake of God. the
Bro
God
is
of
gonna
Jesus,
fix
so
America,
that I can make this
guys.
country better. I hope that today I came and proved that. Michael, you literally didn't tell me what the age of marriage is in the Bible.
Because in the Bible, we have virtue ethics. You know what that is?
Virtue ethics.
You know what that is?
There's not a single verse that mentions virtue ethics in the Bible.
That's because it's called an interpretation.
So
Kind of like how
you're
Tawheed
heretic
isn't in the
right
Quran,
now?
right?
Are you heretically preaching right now?
Only if Tawheed is heretical, because it's not in the Quran.
Tawheed is heretical?
I'm asking you, if it doesn't say the specific words, does that mean it's a heresy?
Tawheed means oneness.
Where is it in the Quran? Where does it say Tawheed?
Oneness, okay?
Okay, great.
You
We have virtues
you
of the
said
Bible.
virtue,
Same thing.
ethics.
Yep. You know what that
Those
is?
two words do not show up in the Bible at all.
It doesn't
virtue,
matter.
ethics do not show up
Verbatim
in the Bible.
fallacy.
Oneness of God is literally
Verbatim
in the
fallacy.
final chapter of the Quran, chapter 114, verse 1 to 4. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
All right.
Say Allah is one. Say God is one.
Okay,
He does
so-
not beget, nor does he begot. He wasn't begotten, nor does he beget.
So if you
He
go to
is the
Ezekiel,
most firm
if
and
you go
does
to
not depend on anyone, and he has no partners.
okay,
This is
done.
a Quran
We'll let
chapter,
them figure out
okay?
finish
that
that relevant
literally
point, and then we're going to move on
speaks
to the
about
super chats.
Tawheed.
Okay, if you want to know
But you're
about
gonna
what
ignore
the
it.
if you don't know what the Bible says,
You don't
about-
care.
James.
My goodness.
What is
Go ahead.
this? Is
I
back
do
and
want-
forth.
I do
What are you
want-
complaining
I do
to
want-
James about?
I do want to go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, James. I appreciate that. You're such a swell fellow. So he talked about age of consent in the Bible. We can go to Ezekiel 16. So
There
here
is no age of consent in the Bible. Period.
James.
I do want to give Mike a chance to finish his sentence though. So if he's mid-sentence,
Mom!
Thank you, James. You're swell. fellow
Mom,
over there.
he's not
All right,
letting
so
me
Ezekiel
make-
16,
he's not
we
letting
see
me
an analogy
argue.
between God and Israel.
not
Okay, and
letting
this is
me
where it
speak.
talks about, and scholars have noted this. I noted this in my debate with Daniel Kikachu, that what the Bible says is lovemaking cannot occur until after puberty is complete. So it talks about when I pass by you
Key
again, behold,
point.
you are at age for love. And it talks about this is after puberty is complete. You read starting from verse 5 and you read to verse 8. You'll see that. So scholars have noted this. So when is puberty complete for girls? It's not complete until the ages of 15 to 17. That's why we legally assign adulthood at 18. That's the age right after. So if you're going to go on the principles of the Bible, sex cannot occur until after puberty is complete. Okay, based on the principles of the Bible. When is that basically done? 18, because again, it's completed during the ages of 15 to 17. That's when hip development is complete. That's why we sign adulthood to 18, because that's right after the age is complete. So principles of the Bible, based on God's analogy in Ezekiel 16, okay, he doesn't pass by Jerusalem until after all of that is complete, until she's fully formed, is what he says. So there's the age of consent.
So why are there women getting married before puberty in the Bible? Can
Where?
you answer that one? Where?
Is it a description or a prescription?
Here's the problem, Michael.
Oh my gosh.
You said
he doesn't
that
even know what that means. He doesn't
women
even know what
should not have
prescription or
sex before
description
puberty.
means.
I agree, but women should not have sex before marriage either. And a lot of women get married before puberty.
Yeah, those are not
That is a
comparable.
common thing in societies with a short lifespan. When the lifespan of a human
No,
being
was it-
is 40 years old, don't cut me out. James.
Okay,
I
that's
think
kind
he
of funny.
self-restrained himself.
Kind of
He was
funny.
gonna-
Thanks, James.
Kinda
In a
funny.
society where the average lifespan is 40 years old, the woman is going to get married before puberty.
What data shows that?
Every single historical...
Really?
Really?
Yeah, really. Because I got
Bro,
studies that say that doesn't happen.
Look, we can do the semantics, we can do the fun stuff, but I'm talking seriously right now. The Quran, Ibn Kathir, never
Guys,
said...
studies are semantics. Okay, I don't know if you knew this, but a study is actually semantics.
to have sex with a child.
I don't think he
Ibn
knows what
Kathir
semantics
never
means. I'm really curious if he even knows what that means, the word semantics.
said to have sex before puberty. Ibn Kathir never said to have sex before marriage. These
gave
are
permission.
all contradictory to the doctrine of the Quran.
So you said that it was a common thing. What about what Brent Shaw says in The Age of Roman Girls at Marriage, Some Considerations? What about what Michael Satlow says in Jewish Marriage and Antiquity? All of these guys are pointing out that, no, it was late teens to early 20s when girls in the ancient world were getting married on average.
Okay, Michael, based on your argument, the laws of the Bible change, which I don't agree with because I don't think the law of God changes. But you're trying to make the argument. You're trying to make the argument that, oh, if the age of puberty is 12, so she's going to get married at 15, 17, and the legal age is 18. So let's just move those numbers around whenever we want. And it's not based on anything fixed.
Like science?
But I say it's science. The lifespan of a human being is what...
All right. I think on that note, we're gonna call it for the debate review, and we're gonna move on to super chats. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull them up manually. Oh, what are we doing here? What in the world? It's not Boomer Tech, guys. I swear it's not Boomer Tech. All right. Let me make sure none of these are inappropriate. Some of these are hilarious. Hold up, I'm gonna pull it up in a second. Don't worry. I gotta pull them up manually via Streamlabs because I can't pull them up on the screen. Okay. I think they're good. Okay. Thank you, Orthodox, for the question marks. Thank you, Cynical Synergy Sister. Thank you, W Stream from Roman Catholic supporter. Thank you. And that reminds me, we're about to go into the members only stream where I'm going to be covering some stuff of of Roman Catholics. Wow. Somebody's saying it is indeed boomer tech, that I'm just in denial. Getting cooked. It be your own people. It be your own people. All right. Let's see here. Would you ever consider doing streams to do a deep dive into the lives of the saints? I'd want to learn more about St. Alexander Nevsky. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Maybe what I'll do is it'd probably be more like someone like St. Stephen the Great, someone that's but yeah, I mean, I'm open to do, if you guys have same ideas that you want to see like a deep dive into, absolutely. Mets King Ben Michael back at it again. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, yeah, thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you, Just John, please. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Steph. Again, I thought Junior Cheeseburger had retired from debate. Thanks again, Steph, for all these. Thank you for our resident Indian tax. Thank you, dear sister Katie. Congrats on your debate win. I know it hasn't happened yet, but we all know how it's going to go. Yes, it certainly seems that way. And then another Indian tax for internet / electric bill from our resident Indian. And then Steph again says Ben just got hit with the curse of Junior. All right. Well, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys for the support. We are going to cut over to the members only stream here. Let me set it up. In 1 minute. Hang on a second here. All right. So in 1 minute, it's going to be going over to members only, and I'm going to cover a few things for you guys here. Let me pull up what I was going to show you guys. But for my non-members, you can sign up for memberships to support me monthly, or at the very least, if you would like and subscribe to the channel. I'm live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern. I do call-ins. I do debates on Islam and Israel and Orthodox Christianity. So please join if you are interested in any of that. And I'm at Real Ben Michael on all platforms. And in about 15 seconds, it's going to be cutting over.